I can't.
Get your shit together.
It's Friday. Yes.
I'm sorry you all have to witness this. Welcome in everybody. Hello Psycho-Cans on being first. How are you doing? It is Friday. Yeah! It's the best part of the weekend. It's the best part of weekend because you've got the entire weekend ahead of you. You drop these. So to explain this for everybody, before every stream we do a quick sound check. We do a 10-15 second recording to see if our audio and stuff are working. And Tifa started with the most grizzly bear after waking up from 16 years of hibernation yawn I've ever seen. The yawn was so big, her face shaped in a way that made it seem like she didn't have teeth anymore. It was just a gaping maw of sleepy oblivion staring straight at the camera. So I posted a screenshot of that on Discord.
Obviously.
Saying that Tifa is so tired her teeth got absorbed back into her body, so you dropped your teeth, won't you
Can't even yawn in peace anymore.
No, you don't. Because I really need to find a way to get you more energy. Because I don't know what you just did, but you've got something there on your lower eyelid. Let me help you. Oh, it's sleepy gunk. No, look at me, I'm trying to get it away. What do you call the stuff that sometimes collects in the corners of your eyes? Here's a learning lesson, while Tifa wakes up and figures out what you call it in Dutch. In Germany, at least where I'm from, you call that Schlaf, as in sleep. And I don't know why in Germany we decided, you know, usually you have this stuff in your eyes after you've slept, so after you've gone to sleep, so when you have the sleep in your eyes still. And I do not think, I'm not a doctor, I could be wrong, somebody fact check me on this, but I do not believe that substance that collects on your face there is what makes you fall asleep. Because if it was... Oh wait, it is. No, it doesn't work like that.
Somehow putting that in your mouth seems absolutely disgusting.
I licked the part of my finger that didn't touch it. Don't worry.
Yeah, everyone always talks about eating nose boogers, but I've never seen anyone eat eye boogers.
Stop.
It's basically an eye booger.
When you say nose boogers, why do you say nose boogers? Because that implies you have them in other places as well.
Yeah, I just said an eye booger. It's basically an eye booger. It's kind of the same. Just from your eye.
I don't think I've ever heard it used like that.
I mean, I think it's called like sleeping sand in Dutch.
Slaapzand?
Yeah.
That's awfully cute. That seems like propaganda for the Sandmännchen, Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, he comes at night, puts the sleeping sand in your eyes and you sleep.
You know...
And then in the morning you rub it away.
As a kid, my parents, at some point when I was very, very little, also told me like a good night story with the Sandman. You good, bro?
My eyebrows are pulling up.
Yeah, let me help you. It's easier if I do it. It also looks way less weird, right? Totally normal behavior for two grown adults. But even as a kid, when my... just trying to take this as normal as possible. But even as a kid, when my parents told me the story of the Sandman coming to sprinkle sand in your eyes when you sleep,
Mr. Sandman,
I thought of, that really hurts. Like anybody that ever got sand in their eyes.
Oh, yes.
Like falling asleep was the last thing on my mind when that happened. Why? Pocket sand. Yes, exactly. That's a dirty fighting move exactly because it is so horrible. It blinds you. Like getting stuff into your eyes is the worst. So why is this asshole Sandman coming on going like Salt Bay sprinkling that shit in your face. It's not cool, man.
But it's the better version because it doesn't hurt.
I think that's propaganda too.
Probably. They make you think it doesn't hurt so that you're not scared of him and beat him up when you accidentally see him. Oh, it's even called like that in German. Sleeping sand.
The thing I just talked about, the Schlaf, is apparently, it has a bunch of names in German. But one of them is sleeping sand. I did not know that. I had no idea.
You know what sounds even worse? Eye butter.
What?
Augenbutter.
Ew.
Like calling it eye butter somehow makes it seem way more disgusting.
Why is the German language like that?
Can you click on the Dutch one? I don't think we have eye butter.
No, with them it's just sleeping sand.
Sleeping
would
sand.
Translate to that.
Klaasvak.
Whoa, who? Why is Klaas fucking?
No, Klaasvak. That's the Sandman. We call him Klaas. Often, if you literally translate his last name.
You said Klaas fuck.
No, Klaas
Why are you
fuck.
cursing him?
Fuck!
Yes, why the fuck are you doing this?
Klaasvak is the Sandman.
Why are you... I understand that the Dutch decided at various points in the past to steal culture from other countries in multiple ways, and they never elaborate. But how does Klaas fuck make sense?
I don't know, but at least he has a name. It's not just Sandman. How would you call it if someone just kept calling you human? Like, you have a name?
I'd be okay with it. I would think they're an alien species, because why are you calling me out like that? But I don't know.
It's rude.
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh,
but he has a name.
You might have a point. Is it because the Dutch Sandman doesn't want to be reduced to his work? Because he is so much more than that?
This is probably his work name now.
I feel like I'm falling down the rabbit hole. I need to put my water down. What's a work name?
Like when you are a writer and you use
a pen name
only, yeah, like a pen name.
A pseudonym.
Yeah, basically that. But just for work.
Is that a common thing that you rename yourself when you enter the workforce in Dutchistan?
I don't know. But that is a common thing actually. Like a lot of people in China, for example, or other Asian countries have a
that
work
I'm aware
name
of.
when they work with foreigners.
Not a work name. They
name.
Are going out of their way to make it easier for people in the West like me to be able to address them by picking names that are easier to pronounce and more common over here. Yes.
So it's basically
I don't
a work
know where
name.
it started, but that's the thing. You're confusing me, Kika. I'm not sure that's how that works.
It's
but
okay.
I'll take it.
It's Friday. Nothing's supposed to make sense today.
Also, we're only in our 30s. Shouldn't you still be a bit more energetic about having made it through the week? Like, yeah, Friday night, motherfuckers. Yes. I'm gonna play all the video games. I'm gonna have an amazing weekend. I'm gonna have all the fun. Yeah, I worked 5 days for this. 5 days I worked, toiling away at my job to get to the weekend. I'm gonna enjoy every second of it.
I will. Tomorrow. After I had sleep.
And here you are like, Friday.
This has been a really long week. You gotta cut me some slack. Has it though? He says.
I don't know, for me it's been a normal week.
Well, this is gonna be a really stressful month. 2 months, probably.
I still have to help moving. I was gonna ask you, do you already know how close to being finished with it all you are?
This is now the renovation part, right? Or are you still actually moving things in the apartment?
I mean, yes, tell us. It could be
It
both.
could be two different things.
You can do both at the same time.
Both suck, honestly, but...
I mean, yes, but, doing half-half, yeah, that makes sense, right? Usually, like depending on the state of a place you move into, sometimes you would choose to first renovate and then move in. Because there's stuff like if you have to do all the walls, that's gonna get dramatically more difficult if you've already moved your furniture.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but as we said before,
fair
it's
enough.
really nice and handy
Yes.
that you're helping, especially because you are handy. That makes such a difference.
Yeah. Upper floor is done. Multiple floors as well. Okay. I hope they feed you well at least. At least one döner a day, I say. Like if they
That's a good deal.
if they have upper floor money, they have daily kebabs money. I do not know the price of a layout of a place. I'm just making things up, but it sounds really good to me.
I mean, you call it upper floor money, but I think that's not a term you can use everywhere in Germany.
I mean, no, if you live in a tiny tower that just has plenty of floors, but ultimately the space itself is small. It's just stacked. And yes.
Yeah, but just because we live in a big city where a small apartment is worth a fortune, you can also live in a place like in Goes, where you have a whole house for 1/4 of the money we pay here.
Yeah, prices are going up everywhere.
I mean,
Like, prices everywhere just to live in a place are going up to the point where if you tell me I have more than one floor, like I'm saying, there's a bunch of things that matter here. But the first thing I hear is, oh my god, they have multiple floors. You know? It feels like when you go into a store and they tell you, no, you have to go one floor up. It's like, wow, the store is so big, they have more than one floor. Right? That implies bigness.
Jack isn't used to it.
No, I'm a small person, I guess.
Hate it, but alas, it's
family. You're doing the Lord's work.
You're doing well.
It's a regular Reihenhaus part. Do we have a Reihenhaus everywhere in the world? I think in most places. Do I need to explain this? Yeah, I just will.
I'm actually not sure. I've never seen, but then again, the only thing I've seen from America are like shows, movies, series, and I've never seen a Reihenhaus there.
I think I've only ever seen them in Europe.
I think that's a foreign concept there, at least.
Yeah. So basically, it's a long house that goes usually down the entire block. It's not like an apartment complex. It's technically individual houses, but they all share the walls. So it's like house, 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 and you just have.
You're all stuck next to one another.
Yes, basically.
I kind of miss that though. Like the thing I miss the most about that is not necessarily the extra space, but somehow the garden.
Mm-hmm. That's
like,
nice.
I never appreciated the garden when I had it back in the Netherlands. But lately I feel like I miss a garden, even though I barely sit in it. And even when we had a balcony, because as some of you might remember, we've lost our balcony a couple months ago.
We still don't have it back.
We still don't have a balcony.
Yeah.
Never sit on the balcony.
That's true.
And suddenly I like miss it, you know what I mean?
I do, well, the problem is I like the concept of sitting in a garden. When we went to Turkey, we did have dinner on the last night sitting outside. And usually I don't like that because A, I hate smoke, as in people smoking cigarettes and stuff. And usually I invite this, that people around me start smoking. I don't know why, it just happens because, you know, people sit outside to smoke, so I get it, I guess. But also because usually when it's warm enough to sit outside comfortably, that's when the insects show up. And that makes me not have a great time. But thankfully that wasn't the case then.
Yeah,
but over here that would be the case.
But like during the day, sometimes sitting there with a cup of coffee and a cat, it's nice.
Nah.
It's
Gotta
nice.
get a cat first. A balcony, but I never use it. Don't want to let mosquitoes in. Exactly. I yearn for the day that as a people, humanity has banded together. Maybe that will be the one thing that ends all like wars and all that, and we can just all come together as one unified people and fight mosquitoes. I'd be in.
Yeah, I don't get why we can't just breed another bug in its place and extinguish those. I can understand mosquitoes are a big source of food for a lot of animals. Or we just make a mosquito... The long-legged mosquitoes. How about we breed the long-legged mosquitoes, have more of those, and then get rid of the tiny mosquitoes?
Do they look like they walk on stilts or do they have sexy legs?
The sexy leg mosquitoes. The ones with the super long legs. You have seen long-legged mosquitoes. Google it. Google long-legged mosquito.
No, I specifically said sexy legs and you were all in suddenly. I don't know how you look at mosquitoes, but I never looked at a mosquito and was like, I'd let you suck me dry.
I don't know, if you want to call them sexy legs, that's up to you. Maybe you like the way they bend or something, I don't know.
I like it when 90% of your body length is leg, like just going everywhere when you walk.
Yeah, but those mosquitoes are fine. Why can't we just have more of those?
Oh, we can already wipe them out technically, but yeah. The problem is we would have to do that everywhere.
I still don't see the problem.
What problem?
With wiping them out. But
Yeah.
you were like, oh, we need to wipe them out everywhere. I don't see the problem. We can even start in Australia.
Because countries still go, even if we would get to the point where everybody gets so annoyed about mosquitoes that is like the one thing that we tackle first. Then people in Germany most likely would be like, the German government has announced a plan to wipe out all mosquitoes. But you can trust me on this. Government funding would be like, but we can only afford it once they enter the country. It's like there'll be border patrols swatting mosquitoes away if they come over the invisible edge of a country. And on the other side, Austrian border police would be standing, or Polish, or Swiss, or whatever else. And they would be swatting themselves because they don't do this together.
I don't hate the thought of my tax money going towards that.
I would love that. I would love that. Do we need to become politicians?
I think you could be a good politician.
No, I wouldn't be.
All you need to be able to do is like talk.
I would be a horrible politician.
You're
Because
good at talking.
I can talk all... Thank you. That is really sweet actually. No, I thought about it at some point in my life, the same way I thought about becoming a therapist. But then I figured, like, I don't know if I could. Maybe I could. The problem is I would die during that. I've said this before. If you put me on a political stage, I will say things that will make a rather small but surprisingly aggressive and well-armed part of the population in basically every country very mad. Because I don't like Nazis.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of part of politics. And it doesn't really matter. Have you seen the crap like the AfD in Germany spouts? Or like Trump in the US? What other country?
Yes.
The PVV in the Netherlands. Like, you can say whatever you want.
Yes. The problem with a lot of those really hardcore right-wing people is that they really don't like it when you talk about them like that.
Yeah, but the problem
And they will find out where you live.
we need parties that oppose them more.
I know.
Like, I think one of the reasons why they're becoming so strong is because they are really aggressive in all of their marketing, all of their promises, all of their everything they're saying.
Well,
and
yes,
there isn't a lot of resistance.
Also because the explanations are easily stupid and stupidly easy, because if you just blame everything on foreigners, even if it has nothing to do with them, like it couldn't possibly have anything to do with people coming into the country. That's not the point. Anyway, no.
Yeah, but they have a point in the fact that there's a lot of people angry about how things are handled. And
Yes.
unfortunately, the hatred is directed at the exact group and not about how the whole
About the actual
government
issues.
is dealing with it. Because I can understand it. Like in the Netherlands, for example, there was an issue that you had people, refugees coming from I was going to say Korea. Coming from the Ukraine.
Thankfully, no Korean refugee crisis. Hopefully, never.
Unlike with the Syrians, they got a status where they were allowed to work immediately. Any other refugee isn't allowed to work. They just have to sit there and do nothing, basically.
It's a whole different can of worms, yeah.
Yeah, but then they get their work payment. But on top of that, they also get their monthly salary, which is higher than the average salary a citizen gets.
Yes.
And that will cause a lot of backlash. I can personally understand that. But you're aiming the hatred at the wrong people.
Especially at a time where prices over the last 3 years have shot up to a point where energy prices were getting really ridiculous. And I personally know a few people that had to sit down when they received a letter from the gas company to tell them, hey, remember last year? It was pretty cold, wasn't it? Yeah, you still owe us $800. And then we go like, I need to go to the bank and ask them if they can loan me $1,000 so I can pay my gas bill. Because I don't have that money right now. And that's disgusting. No.
Yeah, but then I understand that there's unhappiness.
Yes.
And then you have all of, because it's currently not governed very well, and I can see that. But then you have people like the Nazi parties that then promise, hey, we're going to get rid of all of these foreigners and none are coming in again and that will solve all of our problems, which is also not the correct way. But to those people, it feels like they are doing something.
Yes, because that's also something you hear over here sometimes. I voted for all the other established parties, but nothing changes. So instead, I now vote for the extremist part. I think legally they're not extremists. In my eyes, they are. So now I vote for those fringe parties because I've tried all the other options. I'm escalating into voting out of protest. And like, I understand the being angry, like you just said, but if you vote for Nazis, no.
Yeah, but it's a desperate...
Yeah, but no.
I agree. But I'm saying it's a desperate
No.
act. And because there's no one else promising to make things better. So that's why we need a party that goes against that. And that's why we can vote, you can do that. Or
we can get, hopefully at some point, people with spines elected. So that when I become king of Germany, and all the nice lobby people with their bags of money show up, and I'll be like, no, I don't want it. I'll keep doing what needs to be done, because ultimately all of these people want to get paid too. And then I just, oh, you think I shouldn't speak on this matter? Yeah, no, let's do that.
Politics gives me a headache. But I agree. Immigration is fine, but we do need more resources for integration. Absolutely.
Like building housing with all restrictions. That's a thing, again, housing is an issue in more countries, but especially in Germany. If I'm correct, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm far off. Germany is the #1 country in Europe as far as restrictions are concerned. Like, we have thousands upon thousands and thousands of laws and building codes you need to adhere to. Building housing has become so prohibitively expensive with inflation over the last few years, and the fact that you need people who study like 8,000 pages of documents about how houses need to be built. Now, do I believe houses should be held to the highest building standards? Yes, I don't want somebody to die because suddenly the building caves in. I fully get the security and safety part. But other countries, our neighbors in Europe, the Netherlands for example, have way less restrictive codes and their houses haven't collapsed yet either.
Do we? So, I do not know.
Yes, you do. The Netherlands specifically was an example in the documentary or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Then...
You might still have a lot, but you have less.
Further.
And at this point in Germany, it's about getting the paperwork to be easier, so less is better.
I do know you need a lot of permits here in Germany to even be able to start anything.
Yeah, exactly. The apartment building I live in is decades old and have no issues. Our building is decades old and it has issues. So, like, I understand where some of these things are coming from, but you know, when I say issues, it's things that doesn't stop me from living here. It's like, hey, I think that wall is not a great place to hang a picture, because when I hammer a nail into a wall, it feels kind of like sand, so I just don't. I'm pretty sure the building isn't gonna collapse. Like, I'm under no threat that is happening. I don't feel like
I hope not. We're
stressed.
ground floor.
Don't jinx it. Don't you Higurashi us. But yes, ultimately, I think the one thing that needs to happen for the majority of these things that cause so much stress to people is the time and effort and the money just needs to go to things that make more sense. Like immigration. In Germany in 2015, I think it was, our back then Chancelloress Angela Merkel gave a speech when Syrian refugees had they walked all the way from Syria to the German border in the south, which is a 5,000 kilometer trek, 3,500 miles, an insane amount of path to cross on feet. And everybody was shocked when they suddenly got here, which is really funny in a macabre way, because how do you not notice millions of people walking 5,000 kilometers? Like, you see them coming.
But it's also the expectation, oh, they're gonna stop in one of the other countries.
They won't come here. We are one of the richest countries in the world. They won't come. Yes, of course they'll come here.
They won't keep walking.
Of course they'll come here to seek refuge. No, that's the point. The night it happened, I was actually at work. We had the radio on. She impromptu gave a speech and she said the thing, wir schaffen das. We will make it. We will make it happen. And we let a bunch of people in. And I'm perfectly fine with this. Like, I believe the last thing that should happen to you if you, especially on foot, escape war is that you should be turned down seeking asylum. So I'm all in favor of this. But then these people get put into like camps specifically built to house them. And then the German bureaucracy starts. It's like, yeah, do you have a permit to work here? No. I fled my country with the clothes on my back and I walked 5,000 kilometers to be here. Yeah, but without the proper permit. I understand you need permits. I understand you need the paperwork. I get that. But can you understand that there are situations where that's just not gonna happen?
Yeah, but refugees have a special status and aren't allowed to work, with the exception of the Ukraine refugees.
Why not?
I don't really know why we make exceptions for one type of refugee.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Jack being mad about politics.
What he said.
How can you?
That's a good point.
Look, I moved the banner slightly down there so you have more space here. How do you think somebody is gonna feel if they just went through all of these horrible things, they came all the way here, and now we put them in an apartment or whatever for potentially years without giving them any outlook? What do you think is gonna happen? Like, at best, this person's gonna go nuts because you tell them, yeah, you can't go out, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have any sense of a normal life. Why not?
It's a rough topic.
Some people are just not eligible for asylum because we need to apply in the country they're first arriving. I get that. That's also something that they should look into, because I feel like if you make it just, oh, first country needs to do this. I get that. I get the general idea of that. But if you're unlucky and you're in a country where around you shit is going down, you're always gonna be first. And if you're one of those transit countries, like I think Turkey was one of them, they're all gonna walk through your country, so you'll always be first. It doesn't work like this. Like, we are European Union. It's like 26 countries, 28, I cannot count. We should work together on this. It's an issue of limited resources. It just means we're full, I'm afraid.
I think if there's one thing we've learned from the from the pandemic is that there is no working together with all of the different countries. Like when we can work together when it comes to trading, traveling and all of that, but when it comes to actual issues like a pandemic or stuff like this where everyone needs to be involved, there isn't really a solution. Because then we all do have our own rules, we have our own ways of doing things, and then we suddenly can't work together anymore.
Yeah. I was gonna say, reminder by the way, you can look that up. Austria, specifically the Ischgl area, one of the like skiing, now I'm speaking German, one of the skiing party areas, was one of the hotbeds for the early corona spread in Europe. Maybe think of that the next time you want to book a vacation to Europe and you're thinking, which countries do I want to go to? Maybe not Austria, or at least that area. I'll take that off now. And all for people getting a chance to work if you want. Yeah, same. 100% the same. I just want them to integrate, at least to a certain degree. I don't expect anybody to, I don't know, eat pork all day and dance around in leather pants and sing Bavarian anthems or whatever.
That's not the point of integration.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that also requires the country to allocate the resources to allow people to integrate themselves. Because every time we go, yeah, no, can't do that, you don't have the papers. Get processes so that the people that can't show this stuff can still find a way. That would be nice.
I want to say I'm also all in of people coming here to get a chance to work.
You are one of them.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's also not my thing to say because technically Germany isn't my country.
No, but you are literally one of the people, and it was exactly the same steps. You met me, you came over here, you took a language course, you took another language course, and then you, by happenstance, found a job here. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but the integrating is not even fully. I want to say you should respect the culture, adapt to it, but you don't have to not stick to your own principles or culture if that's what you want to do. But yeah, learning the language is kind of standard if you want to come, I want to say. Work, do your thing, stick to the law. I mean, it's very simple things, really.
I never get people that like move, like when you go to a different country for a vacation, that's one thing, but if you move to a different country and you go, oh, I should make it more like in my home country. Why did you move there? Like, I never get that part. Like, why did you, generally those people that I've seen, they decided to move to a place. And it's like, if you liked it at home so much, why did you decide to leave? Usually it's because they didn't love it as much at home and they did look for better opportunities for them and their families.
It's easy to compare.
Yeah, I guess. You know what isn't easy to compare? Tifa doing recaps. Tifa, what has happened the last time we played Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3, Tatarigoroshi?
I remember we finished a chapter.
Tifa, it's been over 2 weeks. Before we started the stream today, did you, out of a love for our wonderful audience, maybe take the 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to brush up on your Higurashi?
No, I was working, then I took a nap, and then it was time to stream.
Okay, you do have a reason for it. Yeah, fair. Okay.
I can't even say I took a nap.
Thankfully, while Tifa was napping, I did exactly that. So, during the last stream...
we did finish an episode.
Yes, we did.
You were even like, oh, we're not gonna finish it. And then for once, I was like, oh, we should finish it.
Welcome, Dark Lord.
I remember that.
Thank you for the free stream streak. Tifa was working hard on the K.
Very much, actually. Excuse me?
Anyway, so, recap, if I may, since you're being useless, more so than usual.
Can't deny.
We got to learn things about Satoko. A few things happened, but ultimately it boiled down to Keiichi. How did we end up there? Keiichi, yes.
Keiichi was worried about Satoko.
Keiichi learned that Teppei, the evil, super abusive uncle of Satoko, was back. And being her Nini, he figured, I need to do something. So we had this huge fight with our friends about, oh, somebody must do something. You have families that you can ask. It was a giant shit show.
Someone become her caretaker.
With first Keiichi telling everybody else in the group, oh, you should just do this, you should just take care of them. And then eventually Reina actually snapping us the fuck out of it by going full Reina and going, yeah, why don't you talk to your parents, Keiichi? You're laying into Mion for the last 30 minutes, calling her all sorts of names and complaining about how she is telling you things don't work that way. Why don't you tell your parents? Why don't you go there right now and you fix the whole problem? We're all treating her like a pet in this scenario. Like, oh, you need to take care of a hamster. No, it doesn't work like this, Keiichi. It was sobering and not a good time. But Keiichi ultimately decided, I need to do something. I need to drop by this place. I need to see how she's doing. So he walked all the way to where Teppei's house is, when he saw that Coach delivered Satoko by car. And they opened the trunk, and that's when he learned that Teppei had sent Satoko to a completely different town to buy all sorts of snacks and booze for him and his drunk, buggish friends. And Satoko was not in a great state. And eventually Keiichi found all of the markings on her of domestic abuse, which Satoko tried to explain away with saying that she fell down the stairs a bunch of times, because she's really klutzy. Keiichi had a hard time dealing with it, as did we. As I think every human being with an ounce of empathy has. Coach eventually dragged us away because Keiichi wasn't having it and he really wanted to let Teppei and his friends know what he was thinking about this, but Coach stopped us from that, and Satoko asked him, can you please drop off Keiichi at home because it's a long way, I'm sorry for imposing on you like this. And we had a talk with Coach about adopting her and how this is all shit and somebody needs to do something. And then he dropped us off at home. Yeah. Life fucking sucks.
I think that was it, yeah. And I don't remember what happened in the tip. I think we learned a little bit more about the murder. Or the body that was found in the sewage.
In the tip, from what I recall, we learned that Teppei's girlfriend or lady friend was supposedly, maybe, neither, but a lady he was pimping out. That's the words they used. And she was also a member of some weird organization. I think it was the S group. They all somehow are connected to the Sonozakis. I mean, they haven't said that the S group is the Sonozaki Yakuza clan, but it's implied. It's heavily implied. Something like that. Yeah. That's about it.
Sounds about right.
And as much as I've looked forward to being back from our vacation and streaming again, I have not looked forward to this. Is the rest of the game like this too? Is it gonna get worse? Like, no details, just yes it gets worse, no it doesn't will be enough for me. Because, yeah.
Well, my brain can't handle heavy topics today, so I hope...
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's gonna
continue with that.
We'll see.
She get a traditional Sonozaki treatment. Yeah, I guess. They do all sorts of shit. I think we did a similar thing back when we played Omori. So I was thinking about this, I didn't even tell you yet, but I just want to put this out there. Depending on how the story continues, maybe for my own well-being, we should move the Higurashi slot to Tuesday and Wednesdays.
Why?
Because I don't like starting my weekend with video game induced sadness. Not yet. Not yet. Not saying we're gonna move anything. Either way, you're gonna see it on the schedule when I post it. But I can deal with stuff like this easier when I still have 2-3 work days to like blitz my brain into normalcy again, versus having the weekend ahead of me and
Doesn't really
having a
bother
hard
me,
time
but
relaxing.
why not just move it already then?
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but if we already know it's gonna happen, why not
But
already
I don't
move it?
know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but we know it's gonna happen.
No,
Why not just move it already?
Because today is Friday, Tifa, and I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean starting next week.
We'll see. I'll think about it. Depending on how
Count
today
on
and
it
Sunday.
started next week.
You will see when the schedule appears.
Next week.
Omori mentioned! Woo! I still think fondly of Omori. But yeah, if that's a concern, move to others. That's my thoughts on this.
Next week.
No! You don't even post the schedule. When was the last time you posted a schedule?
I never have.
Exactly. So no, that's on me.
I'm still part of the schedule.
Much like Higurashi, we're making an Omori, or we're making more into a manga too. Oh, okay. I didn't know. But to be honest, not a fan of a manga. Alright.
Of the Higurashi manga? I probably won't read it anyway, but...
If you now start reading the Higurashi manga while we're playing the game, I'm gonna not use spices on your food anymore, and it's all gonna be bland. The Omori manga. Artist is a bit sus. Okay. I'll take that, I guess. Tifa, are you ready for Higuring some Rushis?
Go for it. Higurashi.
Continue. We had finished chapter 6. Episode. Did it say chapter? Oh my god, we're confusing the words now too.
I thought they were episodes. No, here it also says end of chapter 3.
Yes, it used to be episodes.
Was it?
Tifa, this is Higurashi when they cry chapter 3 Tatarigoroshi. How can we be at the end of chapter 6? Doesn't matter, I'm nitpicking.
Yeah, but I think before it also said chapters in there. Suddenly I don't remember.
The only tip we got last time was the one about case 31. That was what we learned about the lady being murdered. Let's do this. I went home and washed the day's sweat off in the shower. Normally I could reset everything by taking a shower and forgetting all the bad things. But that didn't happen today. I got out of the shower to find fresh underwear placed neatly in the laundry basket. Normally I didn't stop to think about it, but today I felt happy at my mother's consideration. At the same time, however, it made me realize how much Satoko must be suffering. At the very moment I was appreciating this gentle kindness, Satoko might be being bruised by her uncle's cruel words. By her words!
That's probably not while the friends are there.
And I don't think it's the words that are the issue here, but...
Yeah, but I mean, while his friends are there, it might not be physical at least.
Yeah, I guess. It's like Homestuck, you're in chapter 3, chapter 7. That would confuse the hell out of me. Just give them numbers, just like one number. Make it chapter 37 then or whatever.
That also wouldn't be too bad. But seeing how you can buy all of the chapters separately,
Yeah.
that also wouldn't work.
99 cents per episode. That would be okay. I went up to the second floor and shut myself in my bedroom. Then, facing my desk, I folded my arms. My topic of thought, of course, was Satoko. We thought that if we could just get a public agency to intervene in the right way, the problem would be solved. But with what Coach said, I didn't think it would be so easy. Satoko was obstinate and she would stubbornly deny the abuse and try to endure it. And that was an act of atonement towards Satoshi, who had protected her before and then run away. As long as she fought that way, the situation wouldn't be so simple. But earlier, before Coach, I made a clear declaration. If I thought Satoko was in danger, then I would do what I had to. In the end, that meant I was just going to wait and see too. Nevertheless, I thought I'd drawn a clearer line than Coach or my friends had. If a time came, I would report it. Over the phone. Given Satoko's personality, she might criticize me if she found out. But I believed it was ultimately the best decision. Wait, Keiichi Maebara. Would that really be all it took for the problem to end? Say that I reported to a public agency like the Child Consultation Center. What if I stuck to their wait-and-see attitude like last year again? Last year they decided to do just that, and the situation improved temporarily, but then Vion, thinking herself a laughingstock, increased her tormenting in secret. In the end, things became more underhanded than ever before. This year it was her uncle. I'd just seen him for the very first time today, but the man seemed much more direct, much more violent than the word underhanded could imply. He wasn't like their aunt, no, not that subtle, he was more direct. He might also assault her with punches and kicks. That could easily be discerned from the bruises and such I saw on Satoko's body. Shit, you're too naive, Keiichi Maebara. However heroic it may seem to report what was happening, if it doesn't save her, then it doesn't mean anything. Reporting things to a public agency was only one option, and leaving everything to them would be dangerous. We would need something more to guarantee Satoko's safety. I scratched madly at my head, thinking, and tilted it back, wanting at least a little bit of calm. The memories of angry arguing with my friends today came to mind. Her uncle's words, yeah. Don't know what they were going for with that one. I was embarrassed that I hadn't realized it until Reina said something. She was right. My house is big. Compared to all the houses with the straw-thatched roofs in Hinamizawa, it was really big. We did actually have empty rooms. I never thought that we were affluent, but also never that we were poor. I just didn't admit it because people would think I was arrogant. But maybe my family really is wealthy. It's pawn money. It worked. We had a few rooms we could lend to Satoko. The guest rooms are only in use when people related to my dad's job come, and I stay once in a while. And stay. I'll do it again. Also, why are people coming over for the guest rooms and then they stay overnight?
If they come to visit him, they live in the middle of nowhere. Where else are they gonna stay?
Are we talking like the editors and publishers are coming over to look at the work? Or is it maybe people that he needs to stand model for?
I doubt that.
Certain art.
I doubt that.
Okay, fine. The guest rooms are only in use when people related to my dad's job come and stay every once in a while. Plus, if we clean up a few of the rooms my dad uses for storage, they could work for her as well.
So wait, they have several empty rooms,
yes.
Several guest rooms,
multiple guest rooms,
several rooms used for storage. How many rooms are in this house? Like we're talking about what, 10 already?
I'm gonna do it. I will Google this now. In incognito mode. How much do hentai artists earn?
Sure, Google how many houses or how many rooms his house has.
Let's see.
Also, aren't manga artists notoriously known for being underpaid?
Wait, I need to get into Reddit because somebody not too long ago asked this. Rich Uncle Keiichi, possibly. Depends on how good they are. The best ones make thousands of dollars a month, says Skyderper13. Okay, I'm gonna call you out. Can any one of you give me the name of an adult artist on Patreon? Because I think that would be the easiest, because I think there you can see how much support this person is getting already.
Yeah, but seeing artists get paid so differently. I think it's clear that they're rich, but we have to talk about more than 4 bedrooms, because they have their own bedrooms. We're talking about multiple guest rooms.
At least
so let's
2.
say, I want to say if you talk about multiple, you don't really talk about 2.
They didn't say a number, they just said there are guest rooms. So
Fair
let's
enough.
say at least 2.
Let's say at least 2. So we
nice.
already have 4 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Then we have multiple rooms used for storage. So we can say another 2. So let's say we have 6 rooms at the moment. But I think it's gonna be closer to like 10. If I talk about 2, I wouldn't say multiple.
I'm thinking we're talking about at least 4 rooms, because guest rooms, let's say 2, and there are storage rooms being used for storage, also implying multiple.
They also have their own bedrooms, which means you have to add another 2.
There are at least 4 rooms where we could house her. Plus the fact that, we could also, I don't know, have her share the room with Keiichi for a night first.
Or that.
Anything's better than this. Consider that some popular manga artists started as H artists. That is true. For example, the guy who made Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma.
And he continued.
I mean, yeah, but, more power to him.
Watching Olivia play Astrobot.
Hello Ranger, thank you for being here, thank you for lurking. I hope you have a wonderful time, and say hi to Olivia for us, please.
Everything he said. Cheer her on for us as well.
Yes, please. Step Jan, I don't know how to pronounce that, of Sunstone fame has gotten into doing work for DC. Okay.
Doesn't ring a bell.
That seems like a fancy way of writing Stefan. It's creation. I'm gonna
Kinda.
Google that.
No, that's the way you pronounce it. That's not his name. Step Jan. Basically. Step Jan. Yeah.
Sunstone. Do I want to Google this? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I see. I don't actually see. There's the very first thing I see is a collected book on Amazon, and it's just a description. And okay, no, I see how this person got popular. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, if you are big enough to publish them as books, 4.7 stars, 97 reviews, $25 for the book, just the first one on Amazon. All right. Well, he also does good art. Arguably, most of it is good. It's like they released Mario Galaxy 3 on PlayStation. Psycho, give it 1 or 2 years and then we can just play the PC version. It's gonna happen, right? Like, I would imagine.
Nah.
What do you mean, nah?
It's not gonna happen.
Basically, every single PlayStation 4 and or 5 exclusive has come to the PC. Why won't this one? Especially after Sony just again said, yeah, no, we will expand further into the PC market.
Alright, well, sure, maybe.
I get that you're tired and maybe a bit cranky from having a hard work and being tired, but why are you so negative?
I'm countering the points.
But for what purpose? To what end?
And I was kind of thinking of the Switch, actually. I don't see Switch exclusives coming to the PC, but we're talking about PlayStation.
Yes.
Yeah. That's where my nah came from. I don't see Nintendo...
Yeah, Nintendo...
ever going to PC, really.
Yeah, they don't need to. Alright, we've established that they have at least 4 rooms they could give to her and they have plenty of money. At least enough to afford a house with 4 rooms they don't immediately have a need for. Should be fine for emergencies, I would think. As for food expenses, that might have been a more serious problem than a kid like me could imagine. Lunch every day would be manageable. A lot of our friends would just have to bring a little bit more for lunch than they usually did. Everyone packing at everyone else's food anyway, it would be manageable.
So you're gonna plan on housing her. You just accept it that you're rich, and then it's like, oh, but I can't make lunch for her. Like everyone else will need to take more lunch along for her. Because we can't afford lunch.
I don't know if there is a difference in like Japanese culture and German culture and the ones I've seen myself so far. But in my head, if you have the means to buy a nicely furnished house, or it was built for them, to build a nicely furnished modern house like this, with all the extra rooms, 2 entrances, all of this stuff, I would have imagined that food money isn't a problem.
Yeah, but if there's one thing we've learned is that Keiichi has no clue about finances or money.
For breakfast and dinner though, that would have to be up to Mom. I would need to convince her to lend Satoko more than just a room. Of course, I don't even think convincing her of that would be easy. Why do you hate your parents? Can we ever please get some scenes between Keiichi and his family where they actually interact on a deeper level? Because why would you think this? We have seen nothing so far that makes me think, yeah, no, those 2 people, if you told them, hey, my friend is in some deep shit and like we need to get her out of the situation, can we afford to give her a room and dinner for a few days? That they would have an issue with this. About how much did it cost for one person to eat? How many tens of thousands of yen per month? They couldn't complain about it if I showed it that, could they? I only had 10 or 20,000 yen in savings, but it was something. I actually had even more thanks to New Year's gifts and such, but my parents had taken all that and put it into a fixed time deposit. If I could get access to that, it should add up to a lot of money. And if I got that far, I should ask Mion and Reina to share some of the burden. Of course, I wouldn't depend on that. Reina got mad at me, didn't she? About how I shouldn't just shove responsibility onto others. I'd have to ask for help. Even so, I'd basically be saving her myself. I would follow through on it. Oh, but it wouldn't be only food expenses. There were a lot of other things that you couldn't do without, like baths and laundry. My mother was awfully methodical and strict about cutting out inefficiencies, and for once that was troublesome. She might even make reference to the money it would cost for the detergent Satoko would use for her own clothes. Couldn't think of only food expenses. I needed more money. How much money does it take to raise a child? Too much? Yes.
Yeah,
things are expensive.
He's now thinking of things where I feel like that shouldn't even really be an issue. She's coming, or she has money herself as well, or she's somehow getting the money to live. It might not be a lot, but she can live. She can do laundry, she can eat.
Yeah.
So there's also that, if that is the issue, because that's what he's saying now, that is exactly the issue.
This very much feels like Keiichi is trying to talk himself out of it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
To me.
It's like, I can't talk to my parents because they're just gonna say no anyway. There's no point. He's probably gonna come with a plan now if we would just press A, but...
Why do I think this is gonna lead into something so tragically stupid it can only go wrong? Like, in chapter 3, Keiichi is gonna try to find a part-time job, and that's how he dies. Because he needs to make the money to save up so that he can save Satoko. Because the one sensible thing to talk to an adult like your parents is completely out of the question for reasons that seem so far to entirely exist within the confines of his own head.
Dying at his part-time job sounds too much like a way too open end regarding all of the other characters' fate.
No, I mean like somehow that leads into it. Like he's trying to look for a part-time job, but then he gets in with like the darker side of the Sonosaki family, and then they, I don't know, make him become a prostitute and then he gets stabbed or something.
No. For once I agree with the presse.
Hey, wait, Keiichi Maebara, since when was this all about money? Even if you could afford it, you would need your parents' permission first. They'd be looking after a young girl for a really long time. What would I say to persuade them? Just calm down a little bit, Keiichi Maebara, and you'll realize right away that you can't. Even if you ask them seriously, they will tell you to call the police. Even if you manage to gain their empathy, why should the Maebara family have to shoulder all of the burden by itself? That's what would happen. Are they all assholes for some reason? I mean, working in retail is a fate worse than death.
I wish I could disagree.
I don't know when. I think it was on Reddit at some point years ago. I saw this conversation, and there was this comment where somebody said that if you work in retail for a certain amount of time, you should earn the universal right to be allowed to slap one customer per day. And I've done retail for 2 weeks in my life, but I've worked in customer service for way longer than that, and yes. Not to start a fist fight, but maybe just save it for the people where you think there is a chance of maybe you can slap the stupid out of them. You know?
I'm not actually sure what's worse, customer service in a call center or actual retail in a store. I've done both.
Retail in a store.
I think, for my personal experience, I actually want to say call center work, because there people feel more anonymous and feel like they can cross even more lines. Or maybe it didn't help that I did tech support as a woman, because you got a lot of the, is there a man available? I don't wish to be helped by a woman. What do you know? Make me a sandwich. Which you don't really get in the store.
Laugh because it's dumb, not because it's funny.
And those are mild examples, but...
I see your point.
But there, in a store I cry faster because people shout at me face to face.
I see your point, however, in person has the unique disadvantage that if somebody really goes nuts, they are within grabbing range of you.
That's true, you can't just hang up on them.
Thankfully never happened to me, but I'm just saying, you know, it turns into Les Mis. It would be amazing if this becomes a musical. Sad musical, but to call customer service at once and had to assure him that I'm not angry at him, but at the company. That's really sweet of you.
It is sweet, and I personally, when I did still work in a call center, could appreciate it.
Yes.
Even though it doesn't really help, because you, in most situations, still get shouted at.
Yeah, but
you can also understand the frustration.
You know, when somebody tells me this isn't about you, I just need to vent about the company you work for, I'm like, yeah, no, then usually I would just put my headphones like slightly away from my ears, because I'm like, no, I'm listening, but no, let it out.
But even if they get personal, you know it's not about you. It's just people that don't know what to do with their anger.
Yeah, but when it gets personal, it crosses a line.
Yeah, they turn into a dick about it. Yeah. I once got told that they wish my entire family dies of cancer. And very specifically that I would sit next to all of them and watch it. I still remember that talk.
That's, yeah.
That was oddly specific.
You know what's really funny about people like this in a customer service setting? If you, person watching, listening, are the kind of person that tells other people what Tifa had experienced, I just want you to know that usually the person on the other end has access to your personal details. I just want you to think of that for a second. Now, I have never done anything with this. You know, this is like data protection, all of this. And I don't know anybody that ever did this. But you're not anonymous on the phone either. Like,
that is true.
If you're a client of a company you're calling and you identify yourself as such, like, we have your details. We could look at them if we need to. And if you take it too far, we could talk to legal and see if something can be done about this, because we know who you are, because you told us, like, your call is being recorded for quality assurance. Yeah. The quality of you getting an invite to meet me in court for defamation or whatever it's called.
But yeah, customer service in general, whether it's in a store, whether it's on the phone, never again.
I have to say, I mean, if I can choose, I'd also not want to do it again. But I enjoyed it. Because thankfully I was working in a field where 99% of my conversations were all great. And if you get the chance to help somebody with their issues, you do something that ultimately makes them smile and be happy about it, that's awesome. I really enjoyed that part. I always focused on that part. Yeah.
But you still get way underpaid for all of the shit you have to go through, regardless.
Yeah.
If I would ever have to go back to customer service again, I would go for something where I would only do like email support.
Something like that.
Like, don't make me talk to people again, please.
I likely have the legal ability to even reuse your complaint for training. Something like that, yeah?
Yeah, but they can also at any point say, hey, I don't want this recorded anymore, I want you to delete it, and then you also have to do it.
Yeah.
And the shittiest thing is, even if you say like, hey, this can't be recorded, a majority of companies, there's still a chance it won't be.
Yeah, it just can, doesn't mean it will be. Or it is being recorded. Oh well. You know, it should be recorded. Keiichi actually having a conversation with his parents about this. That was it. It was very sad and frustrating, but no matter how much I wanted to help, my resolution alone couldn't save anything. Our kids, if I really was powerless, I felt frustrated. I believed my feelings were stronger than anyone else's. I even thought they were stronger than coaches. And yet, at that point there were 2 knocks at my door and Mom poked her head inside.
Were you awake? I've been calling you for dinner for a while.
Oh, yeah, I'm coming. As someone financially dependent on his parents, I shouldn't say this, but I just sat around doing nothing and food suddenly appeared. It felt so natural to me that I shamelessly thought of it as the responsibility of the parents who gave birth to me. But when I realized that natural thing was actually a right, I came to realize just how hard it was to grant that privilege to others.
I was gonna say to that, because should you be grateful?
Yes.
Yes. But is it also their responsibility to do it for you? Yes.
Yes.
But then you went into that.
Like, in a perfect world, the only... I don't know if this is a hot take for me. In a perfect world, I think everybody that has children has thought about it long and hard, and they considered whether they really want to, for what reasons they want to have a child or multiple children, and whether they have the means to give them the lives that they want to.
Preferably. Doesn't always end up that way, but preferably, yeah.
Things can always go wrong, I get that, but yes, like, I think your parents should be able, or your parent should be able to provide you with shelter and food. Preferably also love, but at the very least shelter and food. Even the boring meal in front of me, no better than it ever was, had more meaning than that tonight. There was food for free on the table right now, for Dad, for Mom, and for me. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to add another place at the table. Technically, it isn't. I mean, outside of a perspective of money and prep time, I want to say there isn't a single dish where if you can make it for free, you can't make it for 4. Unless the dish requires the last 3 of a specimen of animal that has gone extinct afterwards. And even then, you could cut off 1 piece of each of the 3 pieces of meat and give that to the 4th person. Like, think, Keiichi Maebara. If it was hard to make food for 4, then just think about how 4 people could eat. This feels like such a dumb inner monologue. I'm beginning to struggle. If it was hard to make food for 4, then just think about how 4 people could eat food made for free.
Delicious phoenix meat. Gets reborn anyway.
Oh.
If you get your hands on that, you'll be... No one would starve.
Psycho, Dark Lord, you have an amazing point. Here's my question for everybody. This includes you. If you eat phoenix meat, when the phoenix gets reborn, does that also mean the meat you ate also turns to ashes?
You will never find out because you would have flushed that long.
Is that how it is?
If anything. If it actually does, I would say yes.
Because...
Honestly, there's nothing to turn to ash anymore.
KFP has already proved that you can just take off the meat. Who? But... I don't know.
That still doesn't say anything, Dark Lord.
I'll take it, but it doesn't ring a bell. No, but I want to say, if there is a cruel twist of fate to eating phoenix, so you're gonna kill the phoenix, you're gonna eat the phoenix's meat, and then as it is in your digestive tract, suddenly you burst into frickin' flames because the phoenix turns to ash and then is reborn from them. So at worst, you have ashes in your stomach. At medium worst, it burns a hole into your body. And at worst, you have a alien movie chest buster sequence where part of a malformed piece of phoenix body tries to erupt out of you.
Well, I think to answer this, we first have to go into how does the combustion work, because don't they usually burst a flame when they're alive as a sign that they die, and then from their ashes they arise?
Okay, but then you couldn't eat phoenix meat to begin with, because as you cut it off of a phoenix, it already combusts.
Yeah, but you have not when you cut it off. You have to cut it off while the phoenix is alive, eat it, and then you'll probably be fine. And then only the bit of the phoenix that's still alive, when it then bursts into flame,
that's fucked up.
Only that will turn into ashes.
That's animal cruelty.
Yeah, I agree. But if you want an answer to the question, we have to understand how this works, and then nothing will happen to what's in your stomach.
Now I regret asking. You made it so disgustingly torturous that I don't like it. There's a Phoenix VTuber who runs a KFC place where she serves apparently her own meat, which she just goes back. That's disgusting. I know we talk about cannibalism way too much, but yeah, no, I don't like it.
That is technically a cannibalistic channel then, yes. But imagine the possibilities if that was actually possible.
I don't want to, because...
Sucks if you want to lose weight.
Shit like this is why I choose to become a vegetarian. Nah, I don't love it. Oh. I changed around the way I thought, and with that I began to consider an unthinkably bold plan. That's right. I didn't need to get my parents' permission.
And this is where the bacon starts to stink.
Is this gonna be like those really uninspired Hollywood movies where they hide the person in their room and then they smuggle food and stuff to them?
Mm-hmm.
How's she gonna go to school? How's she gonna take a bath? Oh my god.
There we go.
She should just live here in secret. I got upset when I found out a while ago, but if I remembered right, if you climbed out the window, then shimmied down the first floor roof of a gutter, you could go in and out of the house directly from my room. Satoko's physical ability far surpassed my own, so it would be even easier for her. I hadn't even thought about it, but her living here secretly was actually a necessity. I'd only have to bring Satoko to my house when the public agencies said they would wait and see. In other words, if Satoko's uncle continued to be her guardian, if, in such a situation, word got out that she was here, her uncle would barge in and drag Satoko back with him. Her uncle was her rightful guardian, so my parents would hand her over without an argument, no doubt. So I needed to keep it a secret that she was living here. You are actively endangering your family now, if you do this. Why do I think he's actually gonna go through this insane bullshit and this is gonna end with Teppei, or somebody posing as Teppei because mystery, kills the entire Maebara family for what they did?
We have to circle back to the Sonozakis doing something. It has to be full circle in every chapter somehow. Olivia's collected 200 out of 300 bots. I don't know the game, so don't know what that means, but that is a lot.
She's awesome.
Maybe you should do streams with Olivia.
Yes, I would
She
love it.
probably kicks all of our asses.
I'd be okay with that.
In everything. Olivia Elden stream. Elden Ring stream.
Olivia Elden stream. That's gonna be her stream name. If it needs to be a secret, then having my parents' help would mean a lot, but gotta deceive your allies first, like they always say.
How about we first talk to our parents, and if they say no, we still try to sneak her in?
No, but if you ask them first, they are on to you. And then they will look for clues that you did this despite them saying no.
They wouldn't expect it. We're a good boy.
Okay. Persuading my parents was an unrealistic proposition, so I'll search for a way to have her live here in secret. Really? When I was around, she would just have to be really quiet in my room on the second floor. The issue was the daytime. If she was hiding from her uncle, then she shouldn't go to school. It might be lonely, but not going to school would be the better option. I could easily teach Satoko the stuff she learns in her grade. Actually, during school, I mostly help all the younger kids out rather than study my own stuff. During the day, I would need to go to school, so I wouldn't be at home. My parents respected my privacy now that I was this age, so they wouldn't go snooping around in my room while I was gone. I think. If she holed herself up in my room, it would be okay, right? If my parents did come, thanks to where the second floor was, she could hear their approach from the sound of them coming up the stairs. And there would be a little bit of time before they got all the way up. I estimated a few seconds, that she would be able to hide herself in the closet. Wait, Keiichi. Something doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the entire plan.
If she can't go to school, then what'll she do for lunch? Calm down already. I could just leave her my own lunch, couldn't I? I should just go to school without lunch and get everyone else to split theirs with me. Okay, that's good. No more contradictions or oversights, right? Oh, breakfast and dinner. I could somehow get her to go without breakfast. I can go with 2 meals a day when I sleep in on Sundays after all. Every night, I'd pretend as though I had a bigger appetite than ask for a bigger helping. And then I could just somehow give part of that to Satoko. As a test, I stood up from my seat with my plate of fish in my hands.
What's wrong, Keiichi? I forgot we're still on the sitting on the table. Sit down and eat your food.
Well, I'm kind of not in a good mood. Could I eat up in my room? You'll make a mess. Eat dinner at the dinner table. Sorry. Hey, wait. I only tried to take away one plate of fish and they ganged up on me. In reality, it wasn't possible for me to smuggle food away without my parents knowing about it. But it must have been worth taking the time to think about. There must be some trick, some method to avoid them realizing. Even if I can't think of one today, I might think of one tomorrow. No. My appetite was rapidly fading, so I finished early and went back to my room. I went back there and tried to think about it from Satoko's point of view. How about we take a short break, because I feel like I've actively lost brain cells during that last part.
That sounds like a good plan.
We have, every now and then over the years, talked about other like books and shows and movies, and my number one example I think always will be you're not getting mine. It's too late, I already absorbed part of it. We all share the same one, so if mine shrinks, it's also yours. Pretty Little Liars. And spoilers, not spoilers for Pretty Little Liars. The entire show, I've never read the books, I don't know if those are good. The entire show would not happen if the main characters, these teenage girls, would talk to their parents. Nothing like...
Gets more frustrating and frustrating as you watch.
And I think we've watched the original show, that's like 7 seasons? 6 or 7.
The original? There's more?
There's more. Yeah, they had a time skip and then continued on with other characters.
Have we seen it? No.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
But
Doesn't ring a bell.
That's not the point. The original cast, the core cast of the show, is on for like 7 seasons. And season 1, season 2, 4, 5, 6, it's always the same thing. Mysterious shit happens and then they decide, no, I must deal with this by myself. I'm an independent 16-year-old girl. I know everything.
And we kept watching.
Even in the very last season, I think there's one moment where one of them goes like, our parents know about all the shit that has happened to us, some of it that has happened by now. I'm gonna talk to my fucking parents. And then they do that. But then other girls in the group were like, no, we must. They even start keeping secrets from each other. And I think at the end I just hate watched the rest because it's like, I'm 6 seasons in. Like, let it happen, let it wash over me. And that really made this a pet peeve for me. Thank you, Tifa.
A bit late, but I didn't think you would go into full round.
I pray that after the break, Keiichi snaps back to his senses and realizes that maybe if he talked to his parents about what is actually happening and not just bits and pieces, that they could have a conversation about this. And that happen. Hiding her in his room is the dumbest possible thing. Snap back to reality. Yes.
BRB.
BRB. Really?
How about you say you press a button?
I did.
We're back.
Doesn't help if you... Did you actually fall asleep during the break?
No, I'm just resting my eyes.
I'm just resting my eyes and rhythmically breathing. It's so strange how well the Higurashi manga can make these scenes equitably emotional, but so much quicker. And again, it's easier to read a comic than a novel, so yeah, fair enough. There's a lot of words, a lot of them, and I have a lot of feelings about all of this. Okay, I have reset my mental capacities and I have a fresh outlook on things. Now, for example, let's say my parents were coming up at the stairs right now. I've got to hide. I open the closet.
Clatter, clatter.
It's
a soft clatter.
Yes, but stealthy.
Clatter, clatter.
Thank you. It didn't open.
Clatter, clatter.
Hey, wait. Didn't it always opened real smooth and quiet. Why was it suddenly doing this now? Was this house even structurally safe? Was it already showing signs of dilapidation? Or were the hinges just not greased well enough? Could I just apply some lubrication wax? The sound itself may have been soft, but it left me uneasy as to whether my parents would detect it happening when they climbed the stairs. This was an easy problem, I could do something about it. I just had to fix it up a little bit so it didn't make noise anymore. For now, I'll close myself in the closet as though I'd successfully hid. I basically always left my futon out on the floor. Couldn't think of any real reason my parents would want to go into my closet. Even so, there still might be some reason they would. I might need to construct some sort of camouflage so that she wouldn't be noticed even if I did open it. Was she worried about that? The less time she'd actually have to hide, meaning it would be more likely they'd hear a noise. And then I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom? The need to use the toilet. So obvious and yet such a fatal flaw.
Can I put a bucket here? It's gonna be his next thought.
Will your relationship with Satoko be the same after you told her to just shit in the corner bucket? I didn't think the game needed more wipey. The only bathroom was on the first floor. It would be absolutely impossible for her to use it without my family realizing. I might need to set up a portable toilet, like a chamber pot, I guess.
Told you.
Satoko would hate it. So she could go in my room. Please, Lord, get me out of this situation. But the stench would be pretty terrible. Anyone sensitive would probably notice the smell without even coming into the room. The bath was okay though. She could just take a bath when my parents were out. But I couldn't do anything about a toilet. When her stomach started to hurt, if my parents were lazing around downstairs, she'd be in trouble. I can't with this.
I like how he still keeps going.
Does Keiichi, with every, I don't know, reincarnation between the chapters, just lose part of his, senses? Does he get dumber? I've been in...
He is listing all the problems, that is true.
Yes.
But why don't we just go back to first talking to our parents, explaining the situation, and then think about this?
Yes. What exactly is the status of Chapter 3 Keiichi's relationship with his parents that he is thinking about asking his friends to shit in a bucket in his room over talking to the parents and going, hey, my friend is being domestically abused in her current situation. Can we step up?
Also, I don't think this is a Chapter 3 relationship.
I don't know. I mean, fair, in Chapter 1 and 2 he also didn't really talk to his parents.
In all of them we have a very basic level of how it is.
It somehow feels like they're not even his parents. Again, I don't know how the relationship between a Japanese son in the 80s usually went with the parents, but this seems very
No, that I think is going too far.
We occupy the same space, but we don't really share meaningful conversations.
Nah, that I think is going too far. In the game, they just don't have that big of a part here yet.
Yeah, but fuck that, why not? This would be the perfect opportunity to give them a bigger part.
It's not what the game is about. Only you are overthinking these things.
If anything, I'm underthinking. It was then that I noticed that I'd been clawing at my head with both hands. I sat down in the dark closet with my knees against my chest. I buried my face in them and tore at my hair. The more I thought, the more contradictions popped up. The more I fought, the more things failed. The more I worried, the more I was reminded of how little power I actually had. My back started to hurt from staying in a cramped place for so long. But if I was to shelter Satoko, I would need to force her to feel this pain. To live in such a dark, narrow, suffocating place forever. Until she's 18. What do you do if she goes through a growth spurt and she doesn't fit in anymore? But it would still be better than being abused by her uncle, or so I wanted to think. It got hard to breathe, so I gave in and crawled out of the closet. I looked at the clock and to my surprise it was 3:30 in the morning. Don't you dare. I see your eye movement. No, there are still no hands on that clock. That's not the point. It had felt like so little time, but it was so unbelievably long. When I realized that I was slammed with a terrible urge to sleep, as if the time had only just caught up with me. I didn't have enough strength to fight it, and I fell flat onto my futon. Shit, I can't just go to sleep like this. If I waste any time, it'll mean I'm taking the same wait-and-see attitude that Mion and Coach and everyone else did. I needed to keep worrying about how to rescue Satoko for a minute or even a second longer than everyone else. Isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way? That one phrase I spoke to myself swirled around and around in a spiral and steadily took over my entire mind. For my last moment of consciousness, I thought. There were a lot of blind spots in what I'd considered tonight, but I absolutely wasn't wrong for having those ideas. Tomorrow I would suggest this bold plan to the others. Mion might be able to help somehow, and Reina was really sharp, so she might have a good suggestion. And above all, we needed to rescue Satoko once again, with everyone helping out. I felt pathetic for letting myself fall asleep. I'm sorry, Satoko.
And it all comes from a good place. He does want to help. He's just going about it wrong.
Asking again for a friend. The friend is Satoko. Why doesn't Mion step up? She is the heir to the Sonozaki clan. Teppei isn't gonna break into the premises and try to steal Satoko if she is in a Yakuza compound.
We already had a very long discussion about this.
Yeah, and she didn't actually give an answer. She just went like...
we had a very long discussion about this already. Satoko is still a Hojo.
Fuck yeah,
we hate Satoko. We hate the family. The family is cursed. There's no need to do anything because fuck them. Is the short version.
Yes, true, I forgot about that. The ceiling blurred into view. It was hot. There was a thin layer of moist sweat on me. The voices of the cicadas permeating my room were somehow grating to my head. What? Today's not Sunday, is it? I remembered today was a weekday and quickly brought myself to consciousness. And then finally I leapt out of bed. The clock read a little before 10. I was totally late. When I wandered downstairs, my mom would get mad at me. There was nothing I could do though. After reviewing the schedule for the school day for a moment, I suitably rearranged the stuff in my bag. I hurried and got dressed and then went downstairs. There was no sign of my parents anywhere. Maybe they went out somewhere together. So that's how it was. My mother had probably woken me up once this morning, but then I fell back asleep without remembering it. And my parents, thinking I'd gone to school, left. Something like that probably happened. I went to the front door and, as I expected, it was locked. It looked like I was right. It was further evidence of my speculation being correct. When I realized my parents weren't here, I suddenly felt less like I had to rush to get to school. There was one portion of breakfast left in the dining room. Probably mine. The milk they'd poured in it had gone warm since a while ago. I realized how hard it would be to sneak food for Satoko. Yesterday I had cried. Well, thinking back on it, food wasn't the only issue in that regard. I I wasn't in a position where I could care for Satoko by myself anyway. It's such a heavy thing just to save a single person. It seems on TV and in comics all the time. Those feel-good words about how you'll save your friends for sure and such. Was that why I ran my mouth like that, swearing to save her? Because I wanted to feel good about it? No, that absolutely wasn't true. Because the fact was, I couldn't save her. Because I didn't want to think like an adult, like I couldn't do anything but watch. Had Satoko gone to school today? I immediately realized that was a meaningless question. Whether or not she did, there wouldn't be a change in the environment she'd been placed in. If I couldn't save her and no one else could either, then we could only pray for a miracle. Are we so powerless? With a vague goal of getting to school in mind, I sluggishly put on my shoes and stumbled out the front door. I had only overslept by 2 or 3 hours, but the sunlight and air felt completely different from how they usually were in the morning. Yeah, 2 or 3 hours will really make a difference, especially in summer. Well, of course they did. Once 10 o'clock came around, you could barely call it morning anymore. I didn't feel like walking the same old route to school. I needed to ultimately end up there, but it was like I didn't want to choose the shortest route, the most proactive one to get to school. Put it in a more positive light, maybe I want some time to walk by myself and think. I had to go to school, partly to make sure Satoko was safe, but I hadn't come up with any plans yet. Nothing since last night. So the path I took from my house was in the complete opposite direction. What is this Keiichi doing? If I went this way, I'd pass Reina's house and the dam side. It would be quite a detour. I calculated how long of a detour it would end up being, then satisfied with the answer, I started to walk. Why do I think this is somehow gonna... This is why Satoko kills us in this chapter.
You think Satoko will kill us?
Or why,
why
something horrible is gonna happen to us. Because right now we are slighting Satoko. Every chapter so far, when we did something that made our friends feel bad, things went wrong. And in-game yesterday, we had the scene with Keiichi being at Teppei's house and having a talk with Satoko. And Satoko went like, "Goodbye for now, I'll see you tomorrow at school, Mimi." That was a whole thing. I will make it to tomorrow. I will see you in school.
Yeah.
And now he's not there. And I have a dumb feeling that now he's gonna wander around town so much he's gonna miss her. And that's gonna be the thing that breaks the camel's back.
I don't think so. How many episodes does this chapter have?
13, 14, I would think, like the others.
I think we're already past the point where a trigger happened.
This is episode 7. Things need to start going bad. Just saying.
Yeah, but I think we might have already been past a certain trigger point.
Reina had brought me to the dam site a few times. One section of it had turned into an unlawful, oversized garbage dump, and Reina really liked going fishing for junk in there. Without that, she'd come off as a completely normal girl too. I can think of a few other qualities you could do without, but whatever.
Seems like so much fun.
The view quickly opened up wide and I was hit by a strong wind. Higurashi, the 4D experience. There was no shelter here at this big dam site. Maybe it was a good thing I came here, I thought. At the very least, it was more healthy to think about stuff in a place like this instead of my cramped bedroom. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with a rich, cold air unique to Hinamizawa. Didn't he just earlier say how it was warm and stuff?
Ring, ring.
Phone call. I turned around reflexively. It was a bicycle bell. Considering where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way.
Phone call? Mobile phones aren't really a thing here.
I was thinking of
Ring, ring,
ring, ring, ring, ring, ring, ring, phone call, phone call. Considering where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way. They rang the bell because they wanted something from me. Oh!
Hey, this is the first time we see him, right?
He exists in this chapter, alright.
We haven't seen him before, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Tomitake the coach?
You just had to, didn't you?
Yes. When I first formed the thought in my head, I wanted to say it, but then I thought, nah, that's really dumb. But then I realized Tifa's gonna get real mad when I say it, so I had to.
Yes, because that's really dumb.
What if Tomitake is a robot? Hey, excuse me. Are you doing Tomitake now? I'm okay with it.
I'm just helping you, per se.
How about you be chapter 3 Tomitake?
No, I'm good.
What if I was the coach? Huh.
It's gonna be the plot twist in the end. We're all the coach.
No, but for real, in this chapter you can be Tomitake because I also got coach.
So, I have 5 girls.
You have 4
plus
girls.
the teacher.
You
plus the mom.
You have 4 girls because Shmion is one voice.
That doesn't matter, it's a different tone.
Help me out here. No, it's not. Help me out here.
Hey, excuse me. You're from Hinamizawa, right?
Yes, why? I've seen this person around a few times. Right, I remembered. His name, I think, was Tomitake, a freelance photographer who lived in Tokyo. He would zealously visit Hinamizawa every season to take pictures, or so Mion and the others told me, I think.
Could you tell me how to get to the Furude Shrine from here? I think I left my map at the inn. I don't know where to go. Haven't you been coming here for years?
Yeah, that's sus as fuck. How are you here at least 4 times a year for every season?
I kind of wanted to say the same thing, but the moment you said that's sus, remember your dad who's been coming to the Netherlands for 10 years and still doesn't know the way?
True fact, my dad has been on and off coming along to trips to Tifa's hometown and stuff for well over a decade now. Also, Tifa, do you enjoy the music of Hinamizawa?
Oh.
I'm plugging in my earpiece. But every single time he asks us, like we're helping on how to get there. His reason being, and partially I understand this, he says, in the different times of the year, the places look different. And the only part of it I agree with is like late fall and summer. Because once the leaves are gone off of the trees, things look different. Because usually you can look way farther in really like
He mostly comes
wooded
at the
areas,
same times, but still.
Because, you know, there's no foliage blocking the way.
But I wasn't gonna complain about your dad, I'm just saying it can be.
Yeah, I would think somebody knows where the Furude Shrine is, but that's not the point. The shrine from here? I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. I was a little irritated having been bothered for this, but when I realized it meant my detour actually meant something, that feeling faded quickly. I'll tell you, but it's a little difficult to explain. I could bring you there if you don't mind.
Really? I would be in your debt. Thanks a lot. But are you sure? Did you have something to do?
Tomitake-san finally appeared to have realized how strange it was for a student like me to be here at this time of day.
I very rarely, when I get asked for the way, do the same, and I'm like, it's easier if you just walk along, because I have to go in the same direction anyway. Than going like, hey, left, right, left, and then again right at the second one, and then all of that.
Yeah, walk until you see this landmark, and then you go left, and then on the next one, it's the second on the right. Yeah.
And then if they do take me up on it, it gets really awkward because you have to have the small talk. I always forget you can't just walk and someone like an NPC follows you. And then at some point I'll go like, hey, this is it. You're there, you know. And it's like, oh no.
Your destination is on the left side.
Yeah.
You know, with me it gets extra awkward because I don't do the talk. And that's awkward. You just walk the same direction with somebody who needs you to lead them and you're like...
And when you do give the directions, but you're going there as well. So
Yeah.
you have the awkward.
Totally not following you, sorry. I actually had to go. Yeah.
Well.
I smoothly told him not to worry about it, then turned my back and started walking towards the Furude shrine. Tomitake-san hurried to turn his bike around and came after me.
Sorry. Don't worry. All guys have times when they need to split up from the pack and be lone wolves for a while.
That's what a true alpha does. That has nothing to do with being a guy wanting to have some alone time and clear your head. I'm sorry, Tifa. I can't spend Saturday with you. I need to just stand out there in the wilderness and be a lone wolf. Ow!
Before we go on to this walk though, I need another short break.
What? Already?
Already. BRB.
BRB.
We're back, along with a lot of spam bots.
So, shout outs to Continuous Speedster.
Wait. We start with, what was it? Squeaky...
I forgot.
It was a really cool name. Squeaky Conspirator?
I forgot.
Ah, fuck.
So I want to shout out Continuous Speedster, Northern Artifice, Resentful Rubric, Reserve Barracuda, and Thankful Paprika. And the last one is actually really cute. You don't know these people and you can't see these people down there because they're all spam bots.
Some of these bots have such cool usernames though.
All came in while we were on a break and kept trying to tell us that there are cheap viewers on a certain website that they want us to visit. But that didn't happen. Step 3 of the grieving process, bargaining. You just keep trying. Like, yeah. Twitch is getting kind of weird with the amount of spam bots lately. Like it used to be that we didn't have any for like months or years, I want to say. And lately it's been at least 5 per stream.
Yeah, for like the past month or so it seems to be getting more, yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully this like bot we set up gets them the moment they come in usually. And then you don't even see them on the overlay.
The bot does well.
Yes, it does.
I have stopped every single one so far.
Things you need to deal with if you just want to play video games on the internet for fun. Meanwhile, we're still trying to escort Tomitake back to the Furude Shrine. What a free-minded freelancer. It was easier for me too that he was under that impression.
I'm Tomitake, a freelance photographer.
Thank you for introducing us after I just called you exactly these things.
Yeah, but he doesn't know. We said in our mind that we know he's Tomitake. Yeah. I specialize in wild birds and landscapes. I'm still pretty unknown though.
It seemed absurd for him to introduce himself when I was just showing him to the shrine, but he gave me his name, so I needed to give him mine back. I'm Maebara. Pleased to meet you, I guess.
Maebara-kun, pleased to meet you.
He seemed like a pretty silly man, but that felt kind of good considering I'd been suffocating with worry over Satoko all night. What a silly man, having the most basic of basic small talk with me as I go out of my way to go to the other side of the town to leave. Along the way, Tomitake-san spoke at length to me about how precious the nature in Hinamizawa was, and how it was a treasure trove of rare wild birds, despite my not having asked. Why is he so rude?
He's filling the space.
I wasn't interested in what he had to say, but he seemed to be enjoying himself, so I left him to it. These steps will take you up to the shrine grounds.
Thank you. You really helped me out. I think I'm a little late.
As Tomitake-san mumbled to himself, he left his bicycle nearby and started to climb the stairs quickly. I didn't have a watch, but as far as my internal clock could guess, it was still a little late in the morning. School wasn't very far from here. Maybe I could kill a little more time until then. With that in mind, I went up the stairs in pursuit of Tomitake-san. When I reached the top of the long staircase, I arrived at the wide open shrine grounds that were too grand looking for this tiny village. And Tomitake-san, oh, there he is. It looked like he was supposed to be meeting someone here, but he got lost and ended up being late. He was bowing to a lady who must have been the person he was meeting. That lady? I knew her.
So she's not the dead woman?
Yeah, we learned her name in the tip and it wasn't hers.
Oh yeah, true. It was at the beginning that we thought it was gonna be her.
Yeah.
Oh, is that you, Maebara-kun? Hello there. Are you off from school today? What? Oh, Maebara-kun, you followed me.
How totally not weird, right? Like that's just something you do for your newfound friends. I wasn't really planning to. I just wanted to kill some time.
Oh my, she had a different voice. Arriving at work late like an executive? How refined. You certainly are famous, taking the time to look like a big shot.
What was I, a celebrity? Well, she did say my name out of nowhere anyway. How does she know us?
Everyone knows us, remember? We're the new guy in the village.
I was oddly concerned about what she meant by famous.
Oh, you still can't remember my name? This is Miyu Takano-san. She works at the village clinic. Maebara-kun, you seem healthy, so you probably haven't been to the hospital much, have you? Now that we're finally acquaintances, the next time you're sick or anything, I suppose I'll give you a little bit of special treatment.
What? Don't know if flirting or just being weird. Given the perceived age difference, weird. This lady named Takano-san, I kind of didn't remember her. Maybe we'd passed each other on the street a few times, but I was pretty sure this was the first time we talked. Why not both? Yeah. I don't know, man.
You can weirdly flirt.
Hey. Come here more often, cutie pie.
Oh, that's cute. So precious.
Wait, let me put on my my sexy face to woo Tifa. See? Basically both the Giga Chat face. It's just what we do. It's our innate sexiness sometimes just like breaking through. Takano is a bit of a weird lady. Yeah, not just a bit much, I would say.
I'm not sure about a bit much, but this is just a bit weird.
Well, this is Hinamizawa. Even if I don't know a person's name, it's not unusual for them to know mine. I glanced at Takano-san and saw she had a bag and a camera. Are you photography partners? Was that why you were meeting each other?
When is the Watanagashi? Did that already happen? I don't remember.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Hasn't been brought up yet. I mean, the Watanagashi has been brought up, I believe, but not when it is. I would imagine soon, though.
Oh, we're nothing like partners. I am but an amateur, and Jiro-san is gently initiating me into it. Right? That's not it at all. Takano-san is a quick learner. She could take pictures just fine without my guidance. I mean it.
Why does it feel like they're talking about their BDSM lifestyle? Like, I couldn't tell which of them was ahead in the conversation. Well, there was certainly one couple you wouldn't get tired of watching.
The festival is finally coming up the day after tomorrow. Well, should have pressed A.
You mean the festival? It looked really cute. How you were like the moment you realized it was your line, how you were like physically fighting to end the yawn early. Like, you know, in movies when like somebody is like bound with a piece of rope, and like they're about to get like eaten by alligators or buzzsawed in half, and like they try to break out of it, and at some
Suddenly
point,
there's this dramatic...
no, they get so desperate that they start gnawing on it. But that's the energy that gave me.
I hope I can take some good pictures this year. I plan on taking some shots of the setup tomorrow. I want to capture the festival energy shown by the preparations for it too.
Oh, I just remembered. There was some village festival called Watanagashi or something the day after tomorrow on Sunday. They hold a service with a pile of old futons in order to give thanks to Hinamizawa's guardian deity, Oyashiro-sama, I think.
Oh, you're correct. You have quite extensive knowledge despite just having moved here.
Yeah, it's kind of our third go at this. So.
We know everything about this town. Did you know that we have Satan's anus behind here?
Yeah. Do you know that there's like a kink dungeon in this other building over there?
Yeah, it's a festival to give thanks to Oyashiro-sama. Those are so awkward afterwards. Like, put them there immediately. So you've heard of the legend.
Multiple times. Different variations too.
Who's he again?
Ooishi-san. Or at least he is supposed to work for him. Takano-san smiled somehow meaningfully, but didn't tell me what part of a festival to thank Oyashiro-sama needed to be laughed at.
Cryptic as ever, Takano-san. But I do wonder what will happen this year.
Here we go.
You know what they say, if it happens twice, it will happen a third time. And it's already happened 4 times. I think there's less evidence than it won't happen a 5th time, don't you think?
I knew what they meant by their whispered exchange. On the day of Watanagashi, a freak death always occurs which people call Oyashiro-sama's curse, and a disappearance occurs that people call being demoned away. That was perfect timing. Can you add like a tiger, like when you do it?
I can try next time.
Just suddenly Tifa growling cat style while yawning. These strange events had happened 4 years running, and Watanagashi rapidly approaching the day after tomorrow marked the 5th.
Oyashiro-sama put a curse on enemies of the village, huh? If it does happen this year, I wonder who will find themselves at gunpoint.
Who said anything about guns?
Oh, and I always come here to pray and donate money whenever I visit. It won't be me for sure. Oh, is that so? They say that Oyashiro-sama has been especially harsh on outsiders recently, you know? Maebara-kun may have only just moved in, but he's a proper member of Hinamizawa. But you, Ichiro-san, are a stranger who only comes once a year. I wonder, will he let you go this year?
This is the weirdest type of foreplay I've ever seen.
That's harsh.
Tomitake-san was the only one with a pained grin, but we were all smiling. But we all were smiling. Okay, don't do it, Usan.
You told me to grow.
Yeah, do it now.
Oh, no, it's too late.
Why are you pretending to be tired? Are you good? That's a double. What are you doing?
Now I'm not.
Tomitake-san was the only one with a pained grin, but we all were smiling, me included. Oyashiro-sama, the one who used the curse to kill people involved with a dam construction project, one after the next. Stop scratching. He killed the dam construction manager, killed Satoko's parents for supporting it, and the next year he even killed her aunt. If the demoning away was part of that curse, then you could add Satoshi to the list of victims. As I thought about it, I realized that in the serial freak death incidents, the overwhelming majority had the last name Hojo. Half of the deaths and disappearances had come from the Hojo family. The Hojo family lived here in Hinamizawa. Did that mean Oyashiro-sama punished and cursed them particularly harshly because, despite that, they had been in favor of the dam? Have you heard the news that Satoko's uncle has returned? Takano-san, who had been enjoying a few words with Tomitake-san, was caught unaware by my sudden inquiry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Satoko's parents were killed by the curse, and her aunt too. So I was wondering if maybe if you went in order, her uncle would be next. Her aunt had a miserable death from the curse last year, and her uncle let his fear take over and fled into town, right? Oyashiro-sama doesn't allow people to try and abandon the village, does he? Why?
Well, we're kind of hoping it will be her, or it will be him, and for them to agree.
Why am I beginning to think this chapter is going to be different in the sense that this time we're going to kill Teppei?
I don't think we're gonna kill him, but I do think he might actually be one of the people who dies or disappears. And maybe Reina did it?
Or Satoko poisoned his food?
I don't think Satoko will actually make the stab. I do think Teppei might be one of the people who dies or disappears.
Coach might do it.
Oh, Coach! I forgot about him. And Coach will be behind it, yeah.
Coach kills Teppei.
This is a perfect moment to do so. Especially with the Sonozaki family trying to steer everyone away from the murders. It's basically free reign at that day.
I hadn't intended to be quite this persistent, but those words, they just flowed out of my mouth without me thinking about it. Alright. Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't believe in something so unrealistic, of course, but the fact was that every year unfortunate accidents and incidents happened to enemies of the village. Like Takano-san said just now, it had happened 4 times. And one could say there wouldn't be a 5th.
That's an interesting suggestion. It is true that if you look at those sacrificed in previous years, those named Hojo come up quite frequently. Given how long it's gone on for, our uncle being the one to die or disappear this year isn't out of the question.
Haha, murder!
Not again, Takano-san. Don't laugh about it. It could really happen.
It took a small accident to make it happen. Yeah, I just fell. I was holding this really sharp blade.
Oh no.
I got lost on my way to the kitchen sink to wash it, and somehow ended up in Teppei's house. And then Satoko called me, and then after I was done in Satoko's room upstairs, I went down the stairs and I fell, and with the blade into Teppei's left eyeball. And then I was startled because that's not a place to put your blade, right? So I tried to get it out, but it was stuck. So I twisted the blade and then pulled it out.
Oops, don't you hate it when it happens?
But then, because of the blood and the other body liquids spouting out of it, my hand got slippery. So I dropped the knife and into Teppei's right eye. And it just kept escalating from there. I'm sorry, officer, I don't know what happened.
I'm sorry. But Oyashiro-sama's curse is my life's work. I'm gonna skip those hee-hees.
No, you don't.
Well, then press enter faster.
But that's the order she's doing them in.
Yeah, but then press enter faster.
If I press enter faster, we might skip the line. I've done that before and I skipped sometimes, so no. Takano-san gave off a mysterious, somehow intellectual impression, and her life's work was mysterious in its own right. She probably really liked inexplicable supernatural phenomena or something. Why do I think she's actually the one sent by Oyashiro-sama?
Nah. I don't
Oyashiro-sama's curse is my life's work.
Yeah, but I don't think she's sent. If anyone has to represent Oyashiro-sama, it's somehow Keiichi.
No, I don't mean like as an envoy of a god, but more like a fanatic who goes like, I'll do the thing. I'm part of a cult.
No, like that.
Because remember in chapter 1 when they also used mystery drugs? She works at the hospital.
I think she's just fodder at the moment. But true, we also still have the drugs and she could be a supplier. Is that why she works at the hospital?
Maybe. Takano-san, you seem like you know a lot about Oyashiro-sama. Give me your honest thoughts. Given that he's a Hojo and that he's returned, what are the chances that the uncle will fall to the curse? What kind of normal-ish conversation is this supposed to be?
My, what? You seem like you really want this uncle of hers dead.
That's not...
I wonder. It all depends on the whims of God. Maebara-kun, do you know the true identity of Santa Claus?
Huh? I got a strange question all of a sudden and I couldn't immediately answer.
New art.
Are you good?
No, my back hurts and is itchy.
We need a new Redeem to scratch Tifa's back.
No, it's the thingy. Ow!
Sorry, I was trying to feel for it, not touch it. I was trying to scratch around it like this.
Yeah, that's very sweet, but ow!
I'm being adorable and I get punished for it.
What, you don't know? It's your daddy. The daddies in everyone's family.
What? That's what you meant. Well, of course. Everything ultimately comes down to humans in the end. After all, humans are the only ones living in the world. All strange things should be explainable in terms of human actions. What is it with the writing in this chapter? Who speaks like this? Humans are the only ones living in the world. Animals don't exist?
He's a poet.
No. Lies. I can tell you all right now that this is factually not true. My dad never did the Santa Claus thing.
I have proof with all of the mosquito stings that there's more than humans living here.
I thought we were still talking about daddies being Santa Claus.
Yeah, I didn't think you would go for that.
Did your dad ever do the Santa Claus thing?
No, but my dad was an ass.
I felt like I put that somewhat strangely, but Takano-san was not as dissatisfied with that reply as I might have guessed.
No, it's impressive that you've caught on to that at such a young age. You're right. Strange things that happen in the world of men are all caused by men for his own benefit. Maebara-kun, I'll ask you again then. This time, not Santa Claus, but Oyashiro-sama. Do you know anything about who Oyashiro-sama is?
Keiichi calling out his own writing. Yeah. I'm not feeling this chapter. Takano-san took a step towards me and gazed into my eyes as she asked, Santa Claus was really the parents of every family's children. If lionizing that legend was a corporate tactic to try and profit during Christmas sales, then what was Oyashiro-sama really?
Didn't you already say? There are only humans in this world. Everything can be explained by human actions, right?
What a completely normal conversation to have with a 15-year-old you've just met.
Maebara-kun, keep this to yourself, okay? This string of freak death incidents attributed to Oyashiro-sama's curse. Takano-san's view is that they may be premeditated homicides performed by the people of Hinamizawa and based on some kind of ceremony. No, don't misunderstand me. My life's work is to research teachings, thoughts, and cultures from the viewpoint of folklorism. I don't really care at all about who the culprit really is. Just keep that in mind, please.
I hate people like that. Like, I understand the fascination with like the lore and like why it's happening and how all these things fit together, but removing yourself, refusing to take a stance on whether you think this is a good or a bad thing is like why? If you get in your research to a point where you realize, oh yeah, no, Oyashiro-sama is actually Mion Sonozaki, and she's just going to keep killing people, then somebody like Takano, as per her own words, will just go, yeah, whatever, I solved the case, but...
Yeah, but if you also know that no one in the city cares about it, then...
I don't feel like that makes it okay to not try to stop it. I feel like if you...
You would stop a murderer if you knew who he was. And you knew there was no one else behind you.
No, I would go to the police.
Yeah, the police doesn't care. The police get stopped.
We don't know that at this point. I mean, we as the players might know because we've had 3 chapters of this already. But I don't think Keiichi or Takano-san might know this.
Takano lives there, of course she knows.
Then go to a different police officer, I don't care.
There's no logical thinking in this place.
She's got that Kiyomaru energy, that's from Naruto, right?
I have no clue.
I think one of the bad guys. Spoilers for Naruto if I'm right. Danganronpa. Which one was Kiyomaru? Describe the way they look.
I forgot all of the names.
Was it the bandage guy? Who the hat, the anthropologist? Yes. You remember him.
Yeah,
Bandages everywhere.
I do remember him. I just don't remember any of their names.
My first instinct was to yell out what happens during one of the chapters of Danganronpa. And then I realized, no, that just spoils everything. So I didn't. Yes, thank you. That one. But yes, very much. Kiyomaru also did not care one bit, really. I could tell only that she was saying some crazy stuff. To use a food analogy, like you'd force feed a duck to be fattened, she forced her words down my throat. That's what it felt like. I can honestly say I've never used that metaphor before, but I think I will at some point. Tifa, sometimes when you talk about cannibalism, I feel like you're force-feeding me information like you would force-feed a duck to be fattened. See, I'm beginning to get more loquacious by using these things. Mm-hmm. That's how you make foie gras.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That is true. And I think that's disgusting. Never had it.
And never will.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't because vegetarian.
To understand that in the first place, you have to go all the way back to ancient times, when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, or the Demon's Abyss. The Transcendents who lived here believed themselves to carry the blood of demons, and so were only half human.
Takano-san, having entered her home field, leaned forward and began to speak of ridiculous matters. Tomitake-san realized she was overawing me and interrupted for me.
Takano-san, you can't just chatter on about that stuff to Maebara-kun. Look, he's really confused. Oh my, are you? If you want to hear more, ask me anytime. I have heaps of the grotesque stories that boys your age seem to love hearing.
I have a feeling that the boys my age love listening to you because you are conventionally attractive. And when it doesn't, for some of them, I don't think it matters what you say exactly.
I think this would be fascinating.
No. No, especially if I know the person telling me the story doesn't have a moral compass for what I believe to be right and wrong. I don't care at all. Thank you. If I feel like it, I will. For now, I softly and safely gave my refusal. Takano-san seemed a little unhappy that Tomitake-san had rained on her parade, but she stopped talking about it then. Even so, it was still a very interesting story. That Oyashiro-sama's curse, which we thought of as strange, freak deaths, were really homicides perpetrated by people of the village? Well, I mean, if you thought about it logically, it would have to be. People wouldn't be dying because of a curse. Someone's obviously killing people and making it look like one.
Indeed. As for who that is, it might be safer not to try and find out.
You seem like you know Takano-san. You may not have proof, but you seem like you believe it.
Oh my, why do you think that?
Because you keep answering questions with questions. I just kind of felt it vaguely. It didn't seem like her extreme passion for this research would calm down just because these things were taboo or because it was safer and easier. This person loved walking through the profound, forbidden abyss of risks and taboos.
Let's leave it at that, Keiichi-kun. I just helped you escape, and now you're trying to talk about Oyashiro-sama again, yeah? I wanted to take a nice walk while it was still cool.
Tomitake-san seemed a little disappointed not to be able to go on the date he'd planned since I had brought up a weird topic.
It's kind of funny, no? At first, Keiichi was like, oh, why is this dude talking? He doesn't shut up.
He's a weird guy.
And now Keiichi keeps talking and doesn't shut up.
He's like, cock-blocking him.
Like, he followed the dude he didn't care about, and that kept talking, and that didn't shut up, and now he just flipped the roles around.
Tomitake over there, like, oh my god, I'm gonna go there with her. I found some cute birds to take pictures of. It's gonna be awesome. And now this kid is talking about weird stuff. Yeah. Hate it when that happens to me, you know, when I go on like a date night with Tifa and then suddenly this 15-year-old random boy from town shows up and goes like, hey Tifa, what did they do after the war at the sugar factory with all the dead people? See, and that's the... Oh no, he gotta talk about Oyashiro-sama. Yeah. But right now, there was something I wanted to ask, just for a little bit. And that was about whether Satoko's uncle will be chosen for the curse this year. If he was, then another miracle would happen just like last year. A terrible incident would happen again, but it would release Satoko from her unfortunate circumstances once more. I feel like when you start considering murder to be the most effective form of dealing with your issue, that's when you are standing in the pouring rain on a very slippery slope on a cliff while you hear the stones underneath you crackle already.
I disagree. I think you'd be surprised how often, especially in situations like this, murder is one of the very first solutions you think of.
I can say I haven't. I mean, you know, intrusive thoughts or thoughts in general are like whatever, right? What you do is what matters, not what you think of or what happens in your head.
I mean, yes, is it a desperate act? Yes, but when it comes to the thinking about it, like you said, that is not already at that point. That does not first come up at that point. That comes way before. Well, I do have a suspicion, or I do have a few suspicions as to the kind of people who would probably become involved, of course. It's a natural, inevitable conclusion for anyone who's researched the history of Onigafuchi village.
Now I know why I don't like her. Because she gives me the vibe of somebody who is really studied, really experienced in a certain topic, loves talking about it, but also makes sure that you know nothing compared to her. Now that I think about it, that's something I do sometimes.
Just throws a few breadcrumbs every now and then.
Of course, if you were serious about your interests in this topic, you would know this already, but since you don't, I'll share it with you.
It does keep the conversation going, I guess, because you ask questions and you're not just talking.
True. Who do you mean? What would I do if I knew? I asked that question to the other me deep inside, but got no reply.
How enthusiastic. What would you do if you knew?
Nothing really. That's such a cop-out answer. If you knew who was next to die 2 days from now, you would do something with that information. Just from Keiichi's perspective, just easily, if the person would be Satoko, he would try to do something about that, right? Like there's no way that wouldn't happen. Similarly, if it was Teppei, Keiichi would be like, meh, what a shame.
If you found out, you might get into danger yourself, you know. Maybe the 5th year's curse would be you.
Takano-san, toying with taboo, gave a devilish, satisfied smile, as though nothing in the world would be more amusing. She was probably trying to tease me, but I didn't feel like going along with her little game one bit. You like to talk pretty big, but you don't really know yourself, do you, Takano-san? I had felt a tinge of irritation at Takano-san's roundabout way of speaking. But those emotions escaped my mouth like water flowing through a strainer. Even I was surprised at how directly I had spoken about what I felt. Of course, I wasn't the only one taken aback. Why, you little...
Oh my. You're something. You may be just a boy, but you can still provoke people. How unexpectedly rocked.
Okay, take a deep breath, take a sip of water. Because if you are unexpectedly rocked, that means you are doing a random thing and suddenly Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes in and asks you to please contribute money to a good cause. Because he, as a billionaire, he's a billionaire, right? Because he, as a rich person himself, cannot hold all of that burden by himself.
How unexpectedly rocked. Fuck it. Next.
Rugged. Okay, one last chance.
How unexpectedly rugged.
Ooh, she did it.
No, I messed up the other word. I don't dislike people like that, you know?
Is she hitting on us in front of her maybe boyfriend? We're 15, you know, lady. Takano-san's tongue poked out of her mouth, and I was convinced that it was long, thin, and split in the middle like a snake's.
That would be cool. Alright. I'll tell you then. But you have to promise me 3 things first.
Oh my god, she's a genie.
1, not to regret it, no matter what I tell you.
Your mom. Oh no, you regret it. Oh, you promised.
2, not to tell it to anyone. 3, not to tell anyone I told you.
Okay, we're gonna break all 3.
Now she's gonna start about the Sonozakis, and then we're gonna go, oh no, it's my best friend.
I gulped firmly and nodded. Tomitake-san made an exaggerated expression of distress, gave a dry, vague smile and lit a cigarette. Is it better to know?
To me, the answer is always yes. Doesn't matter what it is.
Not necessarily for me, but in this situation, yes. Because I would break at least one of these, because depending on who it is, I would try to have it not happen.
I find the not knowing, or wondering, or thinking about it worse.
Not knowing might lead you to a worse path. Also true. But so does knowing. Because if the answer, like I said, if the answer is, it's your mom, Keiichi, she's next. There's no way he isn't gonna do something about that. Which might then land him in a similar situation.
It's gonna be slightly awkward then.
Please tell me, who is putting this curse on people? Who is it? Who's deciding who gets cursed? And after I said that, I finally you cursed me. And after I said that, I finally realized why I wanted to know.
This might be a good point to save.
If you do, there may be trouble, but if you don't, there may be double. Dark Lord, that was Team Rocket AF. I like it.
And we just skipped the entire conversation.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Might as well keep going for a bit, man.
No, might as well save then here. We don't know what's coming in a bit.
Is this another one of those instances where we can all boo you and then we keep going?
No.
You're disgusting. Meow, that's right.
It's already hard to find safe spots.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good one. You're not wrong there.
So going here might make it worse to save at a later point. I really dislike it when they do that. They started doing that more often in this chapter, I feel like, where we just skip a scene.
There is only one game, you cannot say which one it is. There's one game that has done that happened off screen once, and I liked it. And that's the only example I can think of that ever did that, where I was okay with it.
You tell me not to tell the game, but I don't even know which one you're talking about.
Good, because that would be massive spoilers. It's a game we've played. There you go. If you don't know, go to our YouTube channel and watch every single playthrough so far. And then send Tifa a private message on Discord to remind her. There's your task for today. There's only like 700 videos on right now, so...
Oh yeah.
If you start watching now, you'll have it done by the end of the year.
I really have no clue anymore. When you say it, I'll probably be like, oh...
I will tell you after the stream. But Psycho, Dark Lord, if you can hear this, I do believe you've played through the games. Does the writing keep changing between the different chapters? Because I want to say that either it's that Keiichi in chapter 3 is so different from chapter 1 and 2 Keiichi, specifically chapter 1, or it's the writing. And I have a hard time reconciling in my head whether it's, oh, this is a different, these are different characters. We have the same people but different characters. So the writing is different to reflect that. Or if it's unintentional, and then I'm worried that the quality of a writing will keep going the way it has for chapter 3 versus where it started in chapter 1. Or if it's the translation.
Well, we also know that there's different writers too. Because we discussed before the vacation as well.
Yeah, but still. Each chapter has a bit of a different air to it. Okay. Then even if I don't like chapter 3's writing, I can give chapter 4 a clean shot at wooing me again. Because, I don't know, chapter 1 Keiichi, I didn't immediately love him. He was okay.
I don't feel like Keiichi changes a lot in all of the chapters.
Chapter 2 Keiichi I liked until at the end he lost me with a, but she's my best friend.
But there's nothing now where I would think that's weird from how Keiichi is now too.
No, but chapter 3 Keiichi looking at the conundrum of, oh, I have to save Satoko and I will do everything. I will jump through burning hoops, I will fight Teppei, I will fight the drunk friends in the apartment, in the building with him.
That's not different from his personalities before.
Wait, I will try to sneak her into my room. I will have her shit in a bed. This is not an Ember.
I will have her shit in my bed.
Some people are into that. I will have her shit in a pot in the corner of her room instead of talking to my family. Like, maybe...
But he didn't do that in the previous chapters either.
That's not my point. The way this is presented to me, maybe I'm nitpicky, maybe it's because I'm 35 years old reading the story from the perspective of a 15-year-old.
Yes.
Doing all of these things instead of the, to me, more obvious, talk to your parents.
All of the above so far. It's every game, every show, every anything that has teenagers in it.
Yeah,
that is the way. Otherwise, not like you said with Pretty Little Liars. Otherwise, none of this would happen.
I'll get back to that in a minute. So each chapter informs the narrative as a whole. Okay, I'll take it. You mean how they talk? Yeah, and how they are characterized. Specifically Keiichi in this chapter.
I'm gonna go with Dark Lord. Different circumstances, different situations, different ways on how you act, just as how you would in real life.
Yeah,
I don't see that as...
No, I get that. No, but I read the whole thing on logic to bullshit twists and logic, so nothing like the Delta twist in here. Okay, yeah, no, I take it. Thank you very much. I know it's hard to me at least, it's hard, so I assume it might be to you as well, to answer like my questions while also avoiding spoilers, because it's like if you confirm or deny something, it's easy for there to be something to be interpreted into that. So thank you. But because you brought up Pretty Little Liars again, this is a Jack's-Hole movie. I understand that not from a storytelling perspective necessarily, but from a getting the viewer, or the player in this case, hooked kind of perspective. You need drama to happen. Let's stick with Pretty Little Liars because I wouldn't say I can find the same fault in Higurashi yet. So again,
a lack of drama.
Spoilers, not spoilers, but still for Pretty Little Liars. So something mysterious and bad happens, and our main characters come together in the show, and they try to deal with this themselves. But they keep it from everybody who could actively help them. They don't tell their parents, they don't tell the police. And because of the secrecy that they spin into this, further down the line, more shit goes more wrong. Because they start acting suspicious, and then other people start acting suspicious, and it just snowballs at certain points.
But it's completely normal teenage behavior.
Maybe. I will accept that. Maybe it is. I think, to a certain degree, when you have an audience, when you tell a story, when you make a show, when you make a movie, I think there should be some extent of maybe not just showing how the world is, but how you think the world should be. to stay with the example that goes so very wrong in Pretty Little Liars, in my opinion. I think it's perfectly fine to go, oh, our main characters all keep this in secrecy, and when stuff goes wrong and stuff gets worse and yada yada. But at some point, they talk to somebody who can actively or actually help them. An adult, police, somebody. And when it gets better, showing the audience, whom I assume targeted was also young, impressionable teenagers. Yes, this happens.
Isn't everything going to shit enough proof that it doesn't work?
But I don't think that's the takeaway.
But even if they do, I would, as a teenager, I would also not take away, oh, they talk to their parents now, everything is great, I'm gonna talk to my parents now. No, it's not how this shit works. So don't watch these shows for that. And then it would be done after season 2.
Yeah, good. Imagine a book, any story, where at some point something happens, and instead of making the choice that will lead to this grand adventure, this long story, the meat and potatoes of a book or whatever, they make a more rational choice, and it becomes just a short story because, and when they went to the police precinct, they sat down with a police officer who actually took the issue seriously. They investigated this, and then they caught the guy.
I see what you're trying to say, but please do not direct any series, shows, movies, or write books that I like. Because yours will be like 20 pages long and 2 episodes.
No.
Because you want the perfect world and the perfect picture, but this is kind of how these things roll.
That's not what I mean. I think Psycho gets it. Well, idiot plots are a thing, unfortunately. That's the direction I mean it.
Yeah, but then this is not the game.
No. I'm not. That's why I said I stick with the show that I'm talking about, not the game. The game hasn't fully done that yet. Keiichi having these thoughts might lead to this, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm just saying, having watched Pretty Little Liars is triggering me here. Anyway, my point is, you want to make this a show, right? You want to do, let's say, 20 episodes because you want to get the viewership, you want the money from people liking it, okay? Mm-hmm. So, what's the problem with going episode 1, world building, set up your characters, and then poof, bad thing happens at the end of the episode because sequel hook, episode 2. And now episode 2 to 19, for all I care, will be the characters try to deal with this themselves because they don't talk to their parents, they don't talk to anybody. You know, the usual, what you expect. But have one of the characters speak up. Have one of the characters get help. If you have a cast of 4 or 5 people, why are they all pursuing it the same way? Why can't you have one person that goes, I did this?
Because you usually in these settings agree with it as a group. I know. But I get what you're trying to say, but...
Wouldn't it be nice if we can make the world a better place by showing the things that go wrong in abundance, as it should? I'm not saying you should deny that or you shouldn't show that, but to also have the silver lining of showing, hey, it can be done better.
But you know there are shows like that, right?
Not many examples I can think of.
Because we didn't think we watch them.
Yeah, and I want to say we've seen a lot of like the mainstream big shows and where it doesn't happen. Which tells me that they don't get too popular, otherwise I think I would have heard of them.
Yeah, because a lot of them are just no-brainers, which is exactly what people...
There seems to be more writers who shouldn't be writers. Yeah, I agree, unfortunately. Especially when they go, oh, we're adapting this book into a movie or a show. Oh, but we changed like 50% of it because we knew better. That's not why people liked the book. Anyway. I'm just saying, I think it's nice to show the thoughts, of all kinds of different people that go into like trying to solve issues and the anxiety it brings and the issues that they are tackling. That's good, and there's a time and place for it. That's all perfectly fine and dandy. But very little in my media consumption, unfortunately, do I get the feeling that they also have a little bit of, but there is a way. Something can be done.
Do I agree with you? Yes, because we're playing a lot of things, and also I've been watching a lot of things lately that are about teenagers, and all of these things are very typical teenage things. Is it frustrating? Yes. Yeah. Do I also get frustrated at Keiichi with all of these thoughts? Yes, but it's a very normal
and that's why conclusion. I think it should be like this, because teenagers watch shows about teenagers, and then as teenagers already, they might see, hey, there was a way out of this, and it was the rational way. They just spoke up about it, and then things got better. Maybe if I ever find myself in the situation, I should do the same. I'm not saying it will change the world magically. I'm saying if it might influence one person's thinking, that would be worth it.
But if something like that can influence the person, then they would watch that and go like, hey, all of this went to crap because they didn't, and then they would.
And that's exactly my takeaway after 6 or 7 seasons of Pretty Little Liars. Yes, exactly.
Yes, see, then it was good the way it went, because then you can go like, hey, this didn't make sense at all. I should not do it this way. I would just speak to someone. There, it was exactly what you want.
But that is my meta assumption. Nowhere in the confines of a story did any of the characters... Sorry, once or twice. But in 99% of the story, did anybody ever have the epiphany of like, maybe we 16-year-olds shouldn't try to do this?
Yeah, but you want people to watch that and take away that they should talk to people. No, and it had that effect on you.
No, wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you should show people the better way. That's all. You should have examples of dealing with things the better way.
We should watch better shows then.
Most teenagers think they are rational thinking beings and not dumb idiots.
Yeah.
True.
That's part of the hormones.
I don't know if it's just the hormones. I think it's a coming of age thing. Oh, my parents tell me what to do. They don't know anything. They don't know me. I don't know me necessarily. Like, you have hormones, you have all the changes surrounding your body. Like, different things suddenly start mattering to you. Being a teenager is a wild experience. Plus, on top of your body physically going through changes, hormones having some effect to this, dealing with being a living being, being a human being
and
in
nobody
general,
understanding you.
Yeah, having these thoughts and maybe not articulating them, and even if you do, maybe you don't get the feedback that helps you understand. No, we've all been there at some point. At the same time, you go to school, which no, if you listen, if you think about it, I think that's a super strange concept, because you go to school from when you're super young, and you go to school until you're like, I don't know, 17, 18, 19, maybe then you go onwards to college and stuff. But the shit you do in school, when in hindsight you don't really know much, affects your entire life. People don't get into the jobs they want later on in life because 15 years ago in school they did not care for math or whatever.
Yes, because it's a shitty time to make those decisions.
That's what I'm saying.
But you also can't wait until you're 25 to make the decision. Well, some people do, obviously. Yeah. There's no need to. You can still like preschool or whatever.
I mean, yeah, you can do these things. There's ways around and out of this, but
you can't wait with the decision until you're 25 before you start.
I finished high school when I was 19, and I remember after being done with school, I was laying on bed one day. I hadn't found a job yet. I didn't know what I want to do with my life, and I felt like I'm supposed to be an adult now. I don't know shit. I know nothing. I can't answer the question what I want to do with my life because I do not know. How do I find out?
I'm 33 and I'm 32 and I still don't know
She doesn't even know how old she is.
Yeah, exactly. But I still don't even know the answer to that question.
That is perfectly fine. But generally, our societies depend on that you have some sort of inclination by the time you are finishing high school. You know? Like, I get it, and it makes sense that you set the stage early for people. And generally that works. But if you think about it,
but a lot of people already find out their interest. School tries to like pull you towards the topic as well.
Of things that pull them in, yeah.
And you gotta make the choice at some point, I guess. That's just how it works. Either you're lucky or you're not.
Keiichi's also trying to ignore the hard truth that his parents don't exactly have any legal ability to care for Satoko. He's beyond the pale of reason. True. Very true. I would have loved it if we had gotten a line where he realized that himself. Because maybe I just didn't read it that way, but to me it was more like oh, I'm a child, I'm powerless. Less of a defeated approach that we had in Coach's car, where Keiichi was like, oh, even adults can't fix this. Which I think is also fair to have, but if even adults can't fix this, why would you think you can with secrecy and cloak and dagger?
Yeah, because you still want to. From his point of view, they've already tried the legal way. They've tried to go to the police, nothing helps. So then you start to go through the other options.
Yeah. And Kikuchi tries to tell his parents about things, then just thought he was freaking out.
Which at that point was also understandable.
Yeah. I suffer, last thing, and then we should head out. I suffer the same, I want to say problem, because it makes it harder for people to understand me sometimes. In my head, I'm having all of these thoughts about, let's say, a certain topic. And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, and I'm thinking. And I've tackled the issue from all like different sorts of angles. And then when I say something about it, I'm like 46 steps into my line of thinking. And then I will say something, and then people look at me sometimes like, how'd he get there? Because like, and it was the same in Unikakushi, when Keiichi was like, yeah, it was the first one, he's like, I might be dying. Like, that's step 46. If you had done it at maybe step 2, like, hey, weird shit is happening and I'm afraid for my life. So I'm taking steps in case. I know it's unrealistic if you think about it, but...
He immediately started with that out of nothing.
But just in case, I just want to write stuff down and I want you to know this. You know what I mean? But you're at step 46, I'm dying, and leave. Because you're at step 46 and step 47 is to take action because steps 1 through 45 did not lead to anything. So it helps me to sometimes, like, especially when I realize I'm like, okay, take it from the beginning. That's why my stories take forever. Time for you to get some sleep.
That's a good idea. Let's go say hi to Mommy, who is playing Dead by Daylight.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Maybe.
According to the category.
Listen, we're gonna find out. So first things first. Wrong button.
I know Mame was playing Tomb Raider at first. Which game is this?
So, first of all, if you cannot stick around for a ride, please check out Mame whenever it's convenient. As per always. So, the stream title is Playing Rise of a Tomb Raider for the first time. That's the second of the Tomb Raider reboot games. The game says Dead by Daylight. No, this is to Rise of a Tomb Raider. Yes, the game is set wrong in Twitch. it's fine. We will figure it out. It is Tomb Raider.
I think he swapped games in between because that was set to Tomb Raider at first when I started lurking during the break.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, let's go say hi to Mame. I will press this button in the meantime.
Yes. Thank you everybody for Higurashiing with us. We're back on Sunday with more of it. If you can stick around for it, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.